Their way in here today. Just need the world's greatest hardtop drivers go 600 miles for well in excess of $1.25 million. Welcome to the Coca-Cola 600 at the Charlotte Motor Speedway here on TBS. Hello again, everyone. Great to have you with us today. I'm Rick Benjamin in the STP Pit Communications Center. 43 drivers are lined up to take a crack at the big money today. Of course, the great story we're following, John Andretti's trip here from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We'll update you on his scheduled arrival time to buckle into the Billy Hagan car in just a couple of moments. Many things we're here to tell you about today. The weather couldn't be better. Temperature very comfortable. A few clouds. No threat of rain at this point at all. And we're about 14 minutes away from our scheduled green flag time of 5 o'clock this afternoon. A couple of our veterans are here to cover the action on pit road. Really one of the stories of today's event, maybe a changing of the guard, or at least a precursor to that in our starting lineup today. The names you're familiar with, Dale Earnhardt, Rusty Wallace, Mark Martin, Ernie Irvan, Sterling Marlin, well, they're back a ways in the starting lineup today. The front row made up of a couple of NASCAR's new guard. In fact, not very long ago, you would have found these two drivers featured in our Saturday broadcast of the Champion Spark Plug 300. Joe Nemechek on the outside pole, Jeff Gordon, the pole qualifier. Standing by to talk to the pole sitter today is our Randy Pemberton.
Well, thank you much, Rick Benjamin. You're absolutely right. These are two guys that are stars on the rise here in the Winston Cup circuit. And, of course, Jeff, only your second Coca-Cola 600 last year. You started deep in the field but had a great run, finished second. What can we expect here tonight when we're going to start in the sunlight here and then go into the nighttime?
Well, you know, I don't think that the fastest car is going to be fast right now unless they can make a lot of changes under pit stop. So, you know, our strategy is to go out there and play it real calm, ride around for about 400 or 500 miles and be there. You know, we got to be there at the end, and that's something we haven't been doing lately, and it hasn't been any of our faults. We're just having some bad luck. So we need some good breaks. A lot of luck would do a lot for this team today because we've been running great all year long.
Okay, good luck tonight in the Coca-Cola 600, Jeff.
Thank you.
Also on the front row today, a driver who just a few years ago was running mini stock cars in the state of Florida. Former Busch Grand National champion Joe Nemechek on the outside of row one, the editor of Stock Car Racing Magazine, Dr. Dick Berggren, set to talk to Joe.
And 30-year-old Joe Nemechek has never started a Coca-Cola 600. In fact, this is only your second ever Winston Cup start here. The thundering herd is behind you. Butterflies?
Oh, a little bit. You know, I got the cold chills. You know, it's this is just great, especially to be here on the front row. Meineke Chevrolet, Larry Hedrick Motorsports. It's a great day for racing.
Long race, 600 miles. Are you concerned about fatigue?
Well, the biggest thing is I think I'm in pretty good shape. I'm just going to have to make myself drink a lot of fluids today because it's hot. Going to have to sweat a lot in the cars, and hopefully we'll be around at the end.
And as we talk to Joe Nemechek, we see John Andretti has just arrived at the Speedway. He's just climbed off the helicopter. You're familiar with the story. Andretti with top 10 qualifying spots at Indianapolis in here. He finished 10th at Indianapolis today. He's going to try to back it up with a run to victory here in the Coca-Cola 600 in the Billy Hagan Chevrolet, the 14 car. Andretti with a top 10 qualifying effort here. There's some question about whether he'll keep that spot because he missed the driver's meeting. And NASCAR has a rule. If you miss that driver's meeting, you start at the rear of the field. So we'll find out a little more about that, whether they waived that rule for John Andretti or not. Now, we talked earlier about NASCAR's, well, I hate to call them the old guard, but the older guard, more the veterans. The defending and six-time Winston Cup champion is bidding for 2 victories, make it 3 victories in a row here at the Coca-Cola 600. We're talking about no one else but the Intimidator, Dale Earnhardt. And we're our third member of our over-the-wall gang today, a driver who's leading the Busch Grand National point standings. We're glad to have Kenny Wallace back today, and he's talking to Dale Earnhardt. Kenny?
Thank you, guys. I'm with Dale Earnhardt. Dale, you've won this Coke 300 6 times. You were the first night winner. You got some young guys starting up front. I wish I could be here racing with you. You think anything's going to be different tonight than it has been?
Well, Kenny, you know how racing goes. You can win all the races in the world, and then all of a sudden you can't do anything right. So we're going to see what we can do. This is an awful good racetrack for us. Our car's running good, and, you know, being the winner last year is being the winner last year, but you got to do it for 600 more miles. And it's a tough race. You got a lot of, you know, tough competitors in it, 2 of your brothers. And one of them I'm really, you know, have good battles with. But still, it's going to be a good show. I think it's going to be a good race today and tonight. And may the best man win. Maybe he's driving a black number 3.
Thanks a lot, Dale. That's the most I've ever heard Dale Earnhardt talk. As he gets strapped in here, he's putting some knee pads, keeping his foot warm or cold.
I was glad to see John Andretti make it.
That is a story. Back to you guys.
One of the great stories in American racing in recent years, John Andretti trying a heretofore thought impossible double. Randy Pemberton is with John Andretti.
Well, John Andretti, a tremendous flight down here very quickly. He looks very composed, very calm. Great run today, John. I know you got to do this real quick. You're strapping in, but a little bit of strategy tonight. How you feeling?
Just try and hang out there and do 600 miles and hope for a real good finish.
Are you tired?
Well, you know, I mean, 500 miles is one thing, but, you know, this is going to be a tough race here.
Good luck, John.
John Andretti going from the 9-hole supposedly today. We'll see if he's going to get to start there or not. One of the great stories here today. Here to call the action for us today, two gentlemen who've seen more of these races take the green than I think the rest of us combined. Our own Ken Squire and the King, Richard Petty.
Yeah, but he always had the better seat.
Well, I had an interesting seat anyway, that's for sure.
82 degrees, humidity about 37%. That temperature's come down about 6 or 7 degrees. Cloud cover in and out. Looks like a perfect time for a race. No possibility of rain, they are saying, Richard. Now, what about this fluctuation between starting in daytime than running at night?
Well, that was one thing that we didn't get. It rained us out the other night, and we didn't get any night running with these cars. Although we run them, a lot of them last week. We didn't get any night running. Nobody knows really what to expect. You know, most of the time the cars tighten up as it gets cooler, but you don't know, you know, how tight are we going to start with the car, you know, or how loose we're going to start with it. So it's going to be interesting.
Sterling Marlin has said that running 180 miles an hour, and recall that front row, front three are 180 mile an hour cars on this mile and a half is a little like flying a jet airplane inside of an auditorium, Richard.
I don't know. I've never run 180 miles in years, so, but I've been to some of them that was the same thing. It's sort of like running Bristol, you know.
Right.
And that's what this racetrack's getting like.
Is it a handful?
It is for that long. You know, you go out and run 3 or 4 laps, you don't think anything about it, but then you say, man, we got to be out here 4.5 hours doing this kind of stuff. You know, run 170, 80 mile an hour, then it's kind of tiring from time to time.
And Richard has been the one to say over and over again, it's never the speed that gets you, it's that sudden stop.
That's the whole deal. But, you know, here again, speed's irrelevant. It's the time that it takes us to get around a racetrack. And so if you can set out and run, you know, the longest deal, the shortest deal in the time, then you're going to be the winner.
Well, right now, the U.S. Marine Corps Band is below us, getting set for the anthem. And before that, perhaps no name is more synonymous with this event than Darrell Waltrip.
Well, of course, it's a very important holiday for the whole country, particularly those of us here today that are going out and compete against each other, try to pull off a victory for everybody watching, not only here in this country, but all across the world, really. This telecast is going everywhere. A little closer to home, though, I think about all the men and women that have given their lives defending this country and the wars we've been in. A little personal note for me, I think about the competitors that have lost their lives over the last year or so. That's real dear to our heart and everybody here this weekend. But by the same token, I also think about the most important thing, and that's that I thank God that I'm an American, and I thank God that I live in this country.
Violated. Our fathers carried guns before us, and now we, the sons and daughters, serve our country and bear arms, not to create havoc, but to prevent anarchy and its attendant destruction. Today, we honor those who have been willing to risk life for liberty and fortune for freedom. May they always outnumber the well-meaning who question everything and stand for nothing. In your name we pray.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please remain standing? At this time, our national anthem performed by the United States Marine Corps Band New Orleans of the Marine Reserve Forces.
Coca-Cola 600.
Those who paid the ultimate price for this nation. And with the beautiful playing of the national anthem by the U.S. Marine Corps Band out of New Orleans, Louisiana, we get set to go racing in the 35th annual Coca-Cola 600. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the Haviland starting grid for today's race. Pole position, sophomore Jeff Gordon with a record lap at 181.439. In second, a rookie, Joe Nemechek in his Chevrolet. First time Fords haven't sat in the front row this year. Then it's Jeff Bodine's Ford. He'll start in third position, winner of a 500 here at Charlotte. And Ken Schrader, who always runs this mile-and-a-half well. In row 3, it's Brett Bodine, ran fourth in the 88 600. Alongside is Greg Sachs, back from a terrible wreck just a week ago Saturday. In row 4 from Rockbridge, Bass, Virginia, Rick Mast has qualified well. On the outside is still another rookie out of South Boston, Virginia, comes Ward Burton. John Andretti, fresh from 10th place at Indianapolis this afternoon, scheduled for the inside of row 5 to be flanked by Terry Labonte, the 1984 Winston Cup champion. In row 6, it's Mark Martin still seeking his first win of the season. Many say he'll do it today. And Wally Dallenbach leads the Pontiac contingent on the outside of row 6. In row 7 with his all-new team comes Ricky Rudd, still looking for that first taste of victory with that team. The outside is Ernie Irvin. You know the story here. 3 wins this season, number 1 in points, seeking that 600 victory. Then it's Jeff Burton, the younger of the Burton clan from South Boston. Outside of him is Dale Jarrett, the 93 Daytona 500 winner. In row 9 is Morgan Shepherd for the famed Wood Brothers, who dominated this track back in the 70s and 80s. And Harry Gant in his final 600 performance at the track he loves. In row 10, it's Jeremy Mayfield, still another rookie in the top 20. And outside of row 10 today, it's going to be Chuck Bound in the Bobby Allison car number 12. As the field comes to life in row 11, Rusty Wallace, the 1999 Coca-Cola 600 champion, is there with a former Daytona 500 winner, Derek Cope. In row 12, it's Bobby Hamilton, former Rookie of the Year, and the 3-time winner of the 600, Dale Earnhardt. In row 13 is Bobby Labonte and Rich Bickle. In row 14, from Connecticut, Randy LaJoy, and Alabama, Steen Grissom. In row 15, the 5-time winner, Darrell Waltrip, and his brother, Michael Waltrip, broken shoulder blade and all, starting right alongside. In row 16, it's Todd Bodine and Sterling Marlin, winner of this year's Daytona 500. Further back in the field, row 17, Jimmy Spencer is there, and Billy Stanbridge. In row 18 today, it's Mike Wallace and Dick Trickle. For row 19, Loy Allen and Brad Teague. Row 20 will be Lake Speed and Hut Strickland. Kyle Petty is relegated to the 21st row, 41st position, the 87 600 champion. Alongside is Ted Musgrave. And in the provisional grouping, it's Bill Elliott starting dead last in 43rd position, twice a runner-up in the 600. Here is Rick Benjamin.
Ken, before we roll them out today and get ready to put this show under green for 600 miles on TBS, I want to show you the MasterCard race analysis. $1.3 million up today for the 43 drivers who'll do battle. We'll go 400 laps, which is 600 miles on this mile-and-a-half super speedway. Race record 145.5 miles an hour. Dale Earnhardt set that last year. They'll have to go 55 miles an hour today on pit road, though NASCAR will have the radar guns out, and they'll sit anyone down who doesn't make it. We'll be back to take you up to the green flag on TBS in just a moment.
600 miles for $1,200,000, 43 cars. And Andretti, because he missed the driver's meeting, goes shotgun, goes to the rear. You're now riding with 3 of our onboard cameras. We have several more for you today. Jeff Gordon, the pole sitter up there, taking the field down the back straightaway. And you're with Mark Martin now, who'll be starting in that 11th position, the pyro camera. And Jeff Bodine ready for a ramble this afternoon to try to get himself another victory. He won the Winston Select the other night. Great victory for him. They're into turn 3, getting set for a start. You got to really think about taking a little easy here this first part of this race, huh, Richard?
Well, you got to figure there's going to be 3 or 4 races tonight. Starting out right now, it's kind of warm, and then it'll start getting cooler, and everybody's got to adjust. So everybody will figure on that, I guess.
24-degree banking. About to be attacked for the first time.
There they go. All down into the first corner. It still look like a pace lap right now because they're all not strung out. But it won't take them long to string out.
Where do you collect high gear out there?
Well, you get that before you get to the first corner. So you're ready to go when you get to the first corner. You're running wide open. A lot of times you can go in faster because you accelerate.
Bodine scoots down to the inside, tries to find the hole. Nemechek up on the outside. And you're riding with Bodine as they come by for the first time. And you got a handful of those bumps up in turn 4. Take another look at that when they go back up through there this next time. Schrader looking good, stays in the bottom, and Nemechek just hangs it out on the outside and stays there, runs wheel to wheel.
See, this is what's going to be interesting because he's got on the Hoosier tires, and well, he's got on Hoosier tires on both sides of him right now.
3 wide in the second lap. It's Bodine down to the inside. Nemechek fading back a little. Gordon taking a big fade back to 4th. Coming off those bumps, and it is Jeff Bodine in first, Nemechek in second. Bumper camera from Jeff Bodine, looking back at number 41, Nemechek. 24-degree banking here.
Here comes Brother up in there to see what's going on. Another Bodine.
Brett Bodine on the bottom of the racetrack, number 26, goes into second spot. There you see Rick Nass now getting underneath Jeff Gordon in the 1. It's Jeff Bodine in front. For a while the other night in qualifying, these 2 Bodines were side by side. Schrader continues to roll up through. Looks like he wants to collect the front of this field. Meanwhile, look at Mark Martin make his move. Roof cam on Mark Martin's number 6 going down the back straightaway. Working lap 4. That turn 4, and you can see them get that ripple in there.
It's pretty rough coming off of 4, especially if you have to move up a little bit, and that's the way they're going to have to run tonight probably, is up in the middle of the track from there on up. They're still racing a whole lot all the way on back in the back. Nobody's really got settled down yet, so they'll run another 4 or 5 laps, and then they'll get in line.
6 cars up in front, then it's about a half second back. There goes Brett Bodine in the Kenny Bernstein car down to the bottom. Trying to put the Quaker State colors in front of the next side car on the outside. The Bodines wheel to wheel out of 4 at 175, 80 miles an hour to the stripe. On board with Mark Martin. That roof camera giving you the shot as he goes for second place. Mark Martin hugging the bottom of the racetrack, looking for that hole for second. And back comes Jeff Gordon, the pole sitter. just 22 years of age, and what a racer he is. Martin coming up for second.
I guess nobody told these people this was a 600-mile race.
Didn't they have a driver's meeting today?
Well, I think they did. But I think they forgot it by the time they got to the race cars, though. That's what's good about the Winston Cup races. No matter whether it's a small race, short race, big race, they're going to race for it.
Brett Bodine out in front has a 10-car length advantage for the moment as they're too wide behind him, and this will give him a chance to break away a bit more. Only the second race that Brett Bodine has led this year. Jeff Bodine in second. Here's Martin coming out of adjustment, settling back in third, and Rick Mass making the move on the outside. Ward Burton in the 31, ride 7. Ricky Rudd right there with him. In 8th, Greg Sachs up in there for 9th. Look at Joe Nemechek. Set a new overall record out here in qualifying at the Winston Open.
He's been good all week long, in fact 2 weeks. And, he doesn't run low. He just runs from the middle of the racetrack up. He's got a good groove, a good steady groove. Not that many people in his groove, so he can run good, consistent laps that way.
So it's the Bodine brothers, 1 and 2 with Rick Mass now in third. Car number 1. Been trying to get it together here and get some good finishes of recent. It's beginning to pay off right now. On board with Jeff Gordon in 6th.
Something happened to Mark there. Now they just got a good running start at him. I don't know if he's going to decide to let him go a little bit or not.
Gordon back now to the 6th spot. And Ward Burton pulling up from 7th. There's been a change, however, behind him. Ernie Irvin is rolling. He's into 8th. Ricky Rudd now in 9th, back to 10th. Follows the 77 car. Greg Saxon is 77. Looks like he wants to go after Rudd as well. But here's the story. That lead that had built up to about 10, 12 car lengths, gone away. For the lead, it's now a 3-car battle as Rick Mass hugs the outside and tries to find some running room.
Rick's coming on strong now. He's got him a good groove now. If he gets him down on the outside and he's got the whole outside, he can really go.
Rick Mass pulling up. It's Mass to the number 1 on the high side, and Jeff Bodine down low. Brett Bodine in first. Needs to dispatch him right here. What he doesn't need is to run side by side and let Brett get away again.
No, he's not going to go very far. Number 1 is flat going through that 3 and 4 corner, and he's really making time.
Take a look at this battle. Jeff Gordon has it. Mark Martin trying to take it away. Roof cam here, right down on the bottom at 175. Nemechek falls back into 6th. Ward Burton trying to pull up on this threesome as they come around to complete lap number 12. Green so far over all 43 cars in the early going of the Coca-Cola 600. Expected to be done about 9:30 Eastern tonight in this $1.2 million test.
I tell you what, they're not getting strung out as quick as what I thought they would. Everybody's just right there on each other all the way back to 34th place.
Here is Mass looking for the outside. I think he wants to go for the lead.
He's going.
Gone. Brett Bodine first, Rick Mass second, Jeff Bodine third, Jeff Gordon in 4th. Rick Mass now first. With that change as they came down by. Went into the back straightaway. Mass, for the moment, has the lead. Brett Bodine in second. I believe that's Mass' first time this year up in front. First race Mass has led since Richmond back in March. John Andretti with Bill Elliott on the tail end of the field. Trying to strike a match here and come up through. That's for 37th position. So they moved around Musgrave, taking their time. Long way to go. No sense getting in a hurry out here this
right
time.
now. All I got to do is run a good steady pace, and I'll let none of them catch up with them if they're all right.
see that Elliott car, the Junior Johnson car, fading up the track, and here comes John Andretti back down on the inside again. Remember, he came from 43rd. This is for 37th, and he's got it. See if he can hold on to it in turn 1. Moving away from the field. Mast in first. Jeff Bodine in second. Brett Bodine in third. Staying fourth is Mark Martin. Jeff Gordon fifth. Nemechek 6th. Ward Burton 7th. And it's Ernie Irvan in 8th at the end of 16 laps. 20 laps are complete. Hoosiers running first and second out here. That's what they have for shoes on Rick Mast and Jeff Bodine at the present time. As you arrive at the Pyrol camera on board the Valvoline car of Mark Martin in third. Brett Bodine is fourth. Jeff Gordon fifth. Nemechek 6th. Ward Burton stays 7th at the present time. Let's go back up with the leaders here. Take a look at Rick Mast. He is just scooting away at the present time. Got them covered by how much of an interval? Well, on the watch right now.
All right.
How about 2 seconds?
Yeah. He's riding right along right now.
That too fast to start?
No, he's running like a little over 32 seconds, so that's a good pace. He'll keep that up, he'll be in good shape.
Give you a rundown on the complete field as we get to 20 laps. This is how they're running all the way back through. Napa rundown. See LaJoy back there in 35th, Stanbridge 34th. Showing Elliott. And dead last on the field right now is Brad Teague going a lap down. He's been motoring very slowly. He's the only car that seems to be having any problem at all mechanically out here. He is well off the pace, but staying out there.
Yeah, it looks like everybody else is just sort of keeping up in the bunch. They got about a half a lap lead on the last place man right now.
Word we're getting is that they're saying there's a push on that Ernie Irvan, number 28, giving him fits right now as he tries to keep the Robert Yates car in 7th position. You can see it fade up the track a bit. Dick Berggren may be able to give us more on the story as we get going here. Some of the cars out here competing in the 600. Dick?
Well, Ken, if you listen to the crew chiefs, having a push at this point in the show is a very bad idea. Most of the teams seem to have set up for this race with the cars loose at the beginning. As we go tonight, the cars tend to want to push more. As there are more laps on this racetrack, they tend to want to push more. So most teams are starting loose and hoping that the night and the track will come to them. This is not a good time to have a push.
The only one that has a good push is Rick Mast. He's pushing the button, and that car is working just flawlessly. Mast first.
And there's another car, Ken Squire, that's working fantastically well, too. It's the number 2 of Rusty Wallace. Wallace started back in 21st spot. He's up to 10th after 20 laps. Now, we've talked about John Andretti and his bid to run in 2 races today. How'd you like to be Roger Penske, who's jetting his way to Charlotte right now? In fact, may have already landed 2. He's already won the Indy 500 today. And I'll tell you, Rusty Wallace, to me, looks like a driver who may well win the 600 here this afternoon.
You surprised about that car? Here he is starting 21st out here today. Working his way right through the field. Take a look at this. As the front row cars are back at it this time with Nemechek in the 41 on the bottom, fighting with Jeff Gordon. That's for 4th. Nemechek's going to take it for a moment.
Yeah, he finally got him.
Riding the DuPont car for a moment with Gordon as he tries to close back in on Nemechek. You get a sense that back straightaway isn't quite as smooth as it looks from up here.
It's not smooth at all. About 2/3 of the way down, it really gets rough. But you get the car under control before you get to the corner, so you're okay.
Nemechek and Gordon 6 seconds down as we check out that time. And Rick Mast continues to check out on the field. Mast, who started in 7th, leading and drawing away at the present time. Let's take a look a little further back in the pack and see what's going on out here.
They have a heck of a race back there. They've been racing from the word go. They're getting outrun a little bit, but they're busy racing. So, again, I figured they would have sort of fell in line and kept going, but the difference here is, like you say, you start the car a little loose and it starts pushing, then first thing you know, a car you've been outrunning, it starts outrunning you. So it'll change as it goes over till it gets dark, and then they'll pretty well settle down with it.
As they ramble in the back straightaway through the 3 and 4 turn. This has Dick Trickles, number 32, looking pretty stout out there. There you see the 19, Loy Allen Jr., the Hooters car out of Raleigh, North Carolina, giving it his best. Meanwhile, Mast stays in front and continues to build on this lead. What are the disadvantages of a race this long, Rick?
when I first started the Winston Cup, the pitfall was learning how to be able to be aggressive the last 100 miles. You know what I mean? And so this is the longest race we run, so you got to be able to be there the last 100 miles with the car intact and the driver intact.
The interval is about 3 seconds first to second now, as Rick Mast wants to run away and hide, but in 600 miles.
Well, you know, it's looked like the Indy race. That's the way it was all day long. And, you know, this is still a long, long way to go. And you got these cars back here that once they make a pit stop, and a bunch of these cars that are running, you know, not really that good, they make that adjustment, they're going to come up there and they're going to start challenging. So that's what makes it interesting.
Average speed staying about 168 miles an hour, 168.7 here in the early going.
Yeah, they're running real regular right now. They've done settled. All the cars have settled down, and this is about as good as they can run with what they've got.
Let's go to Kenny Wallace.
Thank you, Ken. One thing I'd like to add to this racetrack was built on a dump, a landfill, years ago. What Richard Petty was alluding to earlier, you can see Kyle Petty, Rusty Wallace on the bottom, but that really doesn't mean nothing right now. You see Rick Mast in the middle high, a lot of guys working the high lane, everybody working the low lane. Sometimes there's just not a preferred lane on this racetrack, so this is some really good racing, and the weather really dictates a lot of these lines.
Well, I think you'll see some of these cars that are running a little bit higher, once they get adjusted and it starts cooling off, they'll try to come back and start running the bottom of the racetrack, because if you can make your car run there, that's the quickest way around here.
31 laps complete. Gee, that means just 369 to go, Richard, before
okay.
Hang on. Here's Mark Martin, that pyro camera, giving us a view of the man he's trying to chase down, Joe Nemechek in third spot. It's Jeff Bodine second. Mast continuing over 3 seconds, by which he leads here in the early going. Further back, look at Schrader going with Bodine. 13th spot. Good war out there at the present time. Derek Cope gets into the middle of it. Randy?
Well, we've gone about 31, 32 laps now. That is exactly about halfway for a fuel stop. We've talked a lot about tires, Hoosier, Goodyear. How far will they go? How fast will they drop off? Both camps expect to be able to go a full fuel stop. That'll be about 62 to 68 laps. We'll just have to keep the stopwatches on them to see who has the best tire and how will it fall off. Right now, Hoosier is looking pretty good.
Indeed they are, as they hold the board for first, second, third, and fifth. Mast, Bodine, Martin in that Goodyear car. He's the one that breaks them up.
Live on TBS on this Memorial Day weekend. Great to have you with us today. A beautiful day for racing. Very early in the going here, and so far Rick Mast has really done a terrific job. Started 7th. He's gone to the front, and he has set sail at the moment. Now, all the 200,000 folks who are here today had to make their travel plans to come to Charlotte. Many of them did, those who live outside the Charlotte Metroplex anyway. If you're going to travel to a Winston Cup race this year, here's how to get the information you need. The official directory of NASCAR of the Winston Cup Series from Bell South Advertising. We're going to show you that phone number on the screen. When we came to you from Richmond in March, we had such a great response to this. Bell South didn't have enough operators standing by to take your order for $24.95 plus shipping and handling. They've got that rectified. You can call the 1-800 number that we put up there, 1-800-345-RACE, anytime, 24 hours a day. They'll be glad to take your order. If you were coming to Charlotte perhaps for the fall race, pages and pages and pages of information on that, on the area around the Charlotte Motor Speedway here. So we want to advise you to get your orders in quickly for the Bell South Directory, the official guide to NASCAR and Winston Cup racing. Meantime, on the racetrack right now, we had talked about how Dale Earnhardt was coming up through the pack rapidly early on. He's developed some problems. Dr. Dick Berggren is standing by in Earnhardt's pit.
Well, the problem is that the car's not doing what they wanted it to do. They had anticipated this movement in the direction of push. They set up the car as loose as they thought Earnhardt could hang on to it. That's not what's happened. The car has a push, and Earnhardt is fighting a push. Crew chief, car owner Richard Childress says he doesn't know why it's pushing. Well, he's not the only one that's gotten befuddled by what's happening here in Charlotte. The racetrack seems to be behaving a bit differently than everybody anticipated. And one of the teams that's also having a problem is at 24, Jeff Gordon. His car is also pushing. He has radioed into the crew saying, what is going on? He has dropped all the way back to 12th from the pole. His crew chief has said, you just hang on, we'll fix it for you.
Well, Earnhardt is 17 seconds back now in 16th position from the leader. Rick Mast, you're on board with Jeff Gordon for the moment as he continues to have his problems. He is now backed up from the pole to 12th position. Watching.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. You do all the practice and all the testing and all this kind of stuff, and when you turn them all loose, you get a different animal. So that's what they're having to settle down with now. But if they can all have a quick pit stop here before long and get their cars adjusted, then, like I said, we're going to see a different race than what we're seeing right now.
Well, there you see the Gordon car as it tries to do something to get itself back up in here, but it's going to take a pit stop, and we're at lap 42. When should they be coming in, Richard, if we stay green?
Somewhere around 60 laps. I imagine all of them will stop a little early to begin with, sort of see what's going on, and you know, make their adjustments as early as they can.
Take a look here. John Andretti about to get lapped by Bodine, but Andretti on his own has been trying to get himself some distance out here, get up through the field. He's been fighting for some time with car number 32, Dick Trickle, and now that one has broken up. You see Randy LaJoie just in front of him. He moved up about 6 positions, then he's fallen back again. Great run for Grissom. He's come from 28 to 6. We'll tell you more about that. John Andretti, you drove Winston Cup, you drove Indy cars. What's next?
I'd still like to drive a Formula One car sometime, and you know, and who knows, there's always something out there that really interests me, but they got to have 4 wheels, so I'm not going to drive any motorcycles, although I wouldn't mind driving a hydroplane boat.
Yeah, I'd give up on that hydroplane boat idea real fast.
Yeah, I don't think I want none of that either.
Mast has lapped Bill Elliott now. He continues to ramble out here, looking further back in the field. You see Nemechek also putting a lap. Here's Trickle in the 32 and finally getting around him is Andretti. That 32-14 scramble has been going on for about 10 laps. Getting some help from Nemechek for the moment. Dodged out there in front. Got a little jet action from the backside. But those leaders, and here comes Randy LaJoie in the 20 back into this thing.
They're getting on up in there now, starting to lap some of these pretty good running cars that, and when they get to Justin, they'll run better than what they're doing. They've really got them scattered out all over the racetrack right now.
Had a tremendous race here yesterday that Phil Parsons was able to get, those great sacks up through the eye of the needle in car number 77, that U.S. Air car. Grave gave that thing.
Still got her on the ground though, right?
Yeah. You don't want to file a flight plan here at Charlotte. Those walls come up quick. Take a look at this. That's number 29. He has come a long way in a very short distance. Grissom from 28, now 5th. Car number 29 on Hoosiers. Big jump to the sky.
He's been really, really steady. He's not raced with anybody. He's got him a good steady pace right now. And he has been coming on, really picking them up and putting them down.
Putting a lap on Strickland right now, coming after Trickle. Keep your eye on Grissom today. The Alabama driver looks strong. Back to the Coca-Cola 600 in a moment. At 52, we just saw Sterling Marlin come in, and when he did, he overshot his pit. There's the action taking place on car number 2. Here's Dick Berggren.
And one of the few cars out here, Ken, that's not experiencing a push. Rusty Wallace, they just took a couple of rounds out of the right rear and puts more weight in the left rear. They were a little bit loose. This is Midnight, by the way, the car that won 10 races. This is the best car in their stable.
18.5 seconds on car number 2. Wallace away, making this early pit stop to make some adjustments.
Yeah, here comes the 43, and I don't know. I think he's lost his pit. I don't know what is going on here.
You think he lost the pit?
Well, no, what happens, see, you run 35 mile an hour or 55 mile an hour down the pit road, it looks like you're just lost, you know. We're pitting all the way down at the end, so I think what they did, they called for early pit stop because the car wasn't working real good, and so they say, okay, we'll get in as quick as we can, make this adjustment, try to get back there and make that time back up.
Easy to get lost out here?
Well, it's easy to get lost on that situation, but if you're not careful when you're running slow at the end of a pit stop, you know, if you stay out there too many laps and try to stretch it, you're better off to stop early get your stuff together and then go back out and run quick, and you make up time better that way. But I say a lot of people are starting to stop now because you're getting into it. I guess they got some kind of trouble there, ain't they?
Boy, they're up to 30. They've got some problems.
Yeah.
He was running 32nd and brought it in. He had that great run out of Sears Point. Fourth.
Yeah, well, we've been running good here all week, you know. I mean, it felt real good, but I noticed he wasn't really running that good today. But, you know, this year just sets you back that much further. When you're not running good, you got to make a pit stop and make the adjustment. If you don't make that quick adjustment to pits, you just get that much further behind.
Working lap 55. If you're just joining us, all laps have been under green so far. Ernie Irvin coming in at this point.
Yeah, see, Ernie's car's been pushing real bad, so they'll probably make some major adjustments on this car.
4-second interval between first and second as Mass leads Bodine. Will keep a clock on number 28. Larry McReynolds and company, Robert Yates, ready to do some work on Ernie Irvin. Let's go trackside.
Well, Ernie Irvin's car came in and smoked the tires as he stopped here. This is a brand new race car to replace the car that they lost in the Winston last week. They say it's almost identical, but maybe better. This pit stop so far, a good pit stop. They're going to change 4 tires, try to loosen the car up in the process. Good stop, 17.9, real good stop.
The big story right now, though, is Schrader. He came in, and there's no brakes in the 25 as he comes out pit road.
And then the 26 come in, they like to hit him, so they had a heck of a deal there. They got lucky and missed all that.
Mark Martin coming in. Schrader went right by his pit. He's circulating around to come in another time. Meanwhile, Mark Martin on pit road. This at lap 57. Car number 6 running in 7th position as it left the track.
There he goes again.
He's out in 19.3. Kenny Wallace down on pit road. How do you view these pit stops?
I think this is a very critical point of the race. This is the very first pit stops of the night. It's a long, long race. People like Rusty Wallace and a lot of these guys up front like Earnhardt. I think Richard will agree with me. When they make these pit stops, the quicker pit stops will really close up track position. I think you'll see somebody leading the race after a round of these pit stops other than Rick Mast.
Coming in very slowly as we watch Jeff Gordon making his pit stop is Schrader trying to get this car rolled. Whole crew is out on pit road trying to bring him down. There it is, and there's the problem. They just fairly nudge it in. That crew trailed along with it for a couple of laps, and Randy Pemberton is there.
Well, you're right. They are having a brake problem. Kenny Schrader came in, missed his pit the first time, came back in. They decided to leave the car in gear. The problem was they were sliding and went through Rick Mast's pit. The leader of the race is now in. Rick Mast, his best finish ever in this race has been 11th. The Hoosier tires running absolutely beautifully so far. Rick Mast was telling them 4 tire stop. They want to make sure they get all the gas in on this Skoll car. So far, second can of gas back in. Absolutely a beautiful pit stop by this team. Left side tires on, 22.1 for Rick Mast. The hood goes up on Kenny Schrader's car. We're still waiting for Greg Sachs up pit road.
Unfortunate time for Schrader. 43 and then some. The clock continues to run as they try to get some binders back on Schrader's car. Joe Nemechek is in. Watch this stop. Lap 60. Good job out there. All the way around.
Yeah, Nemechek's been running a good steady pace also.
Right.
Now's the time to run a steady pace. You don't need to really race with anybody this early in this race. And, you know, if they can just set a pace and stay with it, then they're going to be in good shape.
Here's Darrell Waltrip bringing the 17 on. He worked himself up to 6th spot, lap 61, as he pits. Waltrip would come from 17th position, and here is Jeff Bodine making his entry to pit road. Remember that speed limit on pit road. How do you feel about that speed limit?
Yeah, it's really okay under caution flags and stuff like that because you got everybody on there. But under race conditions, I still think they ought to run wide open or anyhow run where they got control of the car. I think that should be part of the racing course.
That you use that time under green to get yourself in and out.
Because if you happen to have to stop under green, everybody gets a caution deal. You're really, really messed up completely. So I think that's a bad deal.
First and second on the racetrack as they came in with all these pit stops. Bodine is out in 19.1. And there you see Greg Sachs in the 77, the Musgrave ride a year ago. Sachs pulling back onto the Speedway. So, wholesale change of positions. We'll bring you all up to date on how they're riding with still all green flag laps in the Coca-Cola 600. Fleet, Bill Elliott about the last of the field to make his pit stop. Bodine is now back in command by 4 8/10 seconds over Rick Mast in second place. That is as they work. Lap 67 is involving green flag stops, and that will sort out the field considerably here in the early going. The third position is Joe Nemechek. By the way, coming up shortly, we'll have an Auto Week racing update. We'll give you the story on the race here yesterday. Got some material for you on IMSA up at Lime Rock Park this weekend, so stay with us for that. Of course, a little later we'll be updating the big story of the day at Indianapolis. Al Unser Jr. giving his dad some kind of birthday present. Here you are in the Heilig Myers car. This is number 90, Mike Wallace. Whether that Wallace tribe, they're all over. We've got one here working on pit road. We've got one contending for the lead. And for the moment, car number 90, which is the Junie Donlevy car, is back in 39th position. In fact, it's brother against brother as they go down in there. Right behind this car number 90 is number 2 trying to slice his way through. Put his brother a lap down. Wonder if we can find Kenny Wallace and see how it is when those brothers get out there. I bet they do a lot of this Thanksgiving at the dinner table.
I imagine they say, "Do you remember what you done to me down there, or up there?" Or
did that happen with the Petties? When you get together?
Not really. We run into each other once in a while, but I think we give each other a little bit broader area than we would anybody else.
Well, there's Kyle making his move in car number 42 as he tries to keep the Felix Savetta's car sorted out and get these Pontiacs rolling again. Back in 27th position on the latest rundown. Meanwhile, it's car number 7, Bodine for the lead, Mast in second, Nemechek in third.
The Bodine's been running that little group for a pretty good while. It looks like he's going to try to get away from him or get away from him, but there's 5 of them are just running in a little bunch.
Napa rundown on the entire field. That says 67 laps on the track. I want to give a lot of credit to Michael Waltrip for that broken shoulder blade. Staying right out there and sticking with it this afternoon. Did a great job yesterday. Backed up into third spot just at the end, and I knew that he was in pain. He was fighting that car at the end, but right back out here going down.
Yeah, he had to be hurt. I imagine he's been a pretty restless night, but knowing he's got to do this again today. Yep. But he's pretty hard-headed, so he'll be all right.
Is that what it takes?
That's what it takes. You just have to say, hey, man, if somebody else can do it, or I can do it if they can't do it, and that's the way they have to approach it. And the good ones, that's the way they do it.
17 cars on the lead lap right now. Repairs on Schrader's car to get those brakes fixed were 5 minutes, 24 seconds in length. So he lost, 11 laps? Let's go to Randy Pember.
Ken Howes obviously frustrated. Ken, you were one of the pre-race favorites to take this 600. What the heck happened?
Well, brake pedal went to the floor just 4 or 5 laps before. We're still trying to figure out what went wrong. There's no leaks, no real sign of a problem, but there's a lot of air in the system. He's got some brakes now, but I guess that's it for today.
Okay, tough break. That's got to be frustrating, guys. They certainly had a good car in practice. He was one of the top 5 that I had on the watch in practice yesterday.
43rd position, and all 43 cars are still on the track as we've completed 73 laps on the mile and a half. 109 miles are down. They're still averaging 163 miles an hour. The record for the fastest 600 goes back to last year when Earnhardt won it for the second straight year. He won at an average speed of 145.5. There were 7 cautions in that race last year. Thus far, we're caution-free with the 6 of the race off the board.
With the way we've been running and the cautions and stuff, I think the first 17 cars are in the same lap. It really separated because of the bad pit stop or something like that. First thing you know, you lose a half a car length or half a straightaway, then the people get ahead of you. So now they're all settled down now to try to run it again.
Richard, we have Hoosiers on the cars that are running 1, 2, and 3. Hoosier tires on Jeff Bodine, Rick Mast, Joe Nemechek. I've always been a little skittish when you get into a tire war. I always thought that the only ones that ever got hurt in a war of that nature, a tire war, were the drivers.
It's always the drivers and the car owners, that's for sure.
Well, I didn't think about the car owners, but I'm sure worried about drivers.
Well, they get hurt financially. Drivers get hurt physically. So I guess about one is about as bad as the other.
But on the other hand, these Hoosier folks have come in here, and they have added a little excitement to it for a lot of race fans.
Yeah, so far this year, we've been real lucky. I think maybe one set of tires were at one race wasn't good, but they withdrew the tires. So, from that standpoint, they've done a lot better this time than they did the first time they came in back in the late 80s.
Well, there's John Andretti, who's now completed 600 miles of racing today with 500 still to go. And one of the people that has been responsible to put together the program to get John to both racetracks and so forth is one of the most respected promoters in America today. His dad, of course, had great Indianapolis cars. Troy Ruttman won in an Agajanian car. And Kerry Agajanian standing by in the STP pit center right now with Rick Benjamin.
Well, Ken, it's a privilege, certainly, to welcome Kerry Agajanian to the broadcast. But I want to show you something. You think you've got a lot of frequent flyer miles, maybe a lot of credit cards in your wallet. How'd you like to have a pair of these? A 94 NASCAR Winston Cup credential and a USAC annual credential with a Speedway credential attached to it. And the guy who owns both of these, you're probably the only one in the garage area who's got that combination, maybe besides Roger Penske.
Well, that's true. Actually, John Andretti didn't need it because he had his driver's uniform on today.
No one questioned his credentials. How was he feeling on the ride down here?
Very well. He did quite well on the way down. He was relaxed. He got out of the car. He wasn't really tired at all. We had a nurse there to check all his vital signs. They gave him actually 2 liters of fluid just to make sure that he could go ahead here.
He had a good run at Indy. Top 10 finish?
Yeah, terrific. He was doing so well. I thought this was going to be the year he was going to win it. He ran in the top 3 most of the first half of the race, and then something happened in the handling of the car. The car got very loose, he said, and he fought it the last half of the race and fought to keep in the top 10, but we were proud of him to get in the top 10.
Well, we're proud that you're here and that he made it. This guy drove 4 big league race cars last year, Indy cars, Winston Cup, IMSA GTP, and a Top Fuel dragster. The impossible double today being performed by John Andretti. Thanks, Gary.
Yeah, thanks. He just did a terrific job. We flew down on a Canadair flight, and everything went perfectly.
Good to have you with us.
Agajanian, you know how you test out here in the racetrack? He was testing all the choppers and the airplane.
Find out who was
53
the best,
minutes exactly, 1,100 miles to get that rig down. They had golf carts arranged and vans. I'll tell you.
I tell you what, they've done a
heck
of a job just to get him here. I think he was probably more anxious getting here than he was running either one of the races.
You're watching Jeff Bodine continuing to lead here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway in the 35th annual Coca-Cola 600. He has Joe Nemechek in second, Ernie Irvan in third, Rick Mast in fourth. Stay with us.
On the next
out here in the 35th annual Coca-Cola 600. For the moment, Jeff Bodine has the advantage, averaging 163 miles an hour. And in the finger hut car, this is Derek Copen. He is slowing down. I think he's going to come in right here, unscheduled.
Yeah, he's slowed down a little back in the backstretch before you're supposed to slow down. They usually run around pretty hard till they get to the 4th turn before they make a slow down for the pit stop. But he's got some kind of problem.
Finger Hut gave some race fan today $5 million out here on the start-finish line, Richard, before the race. I think Derek wishes he had a piece of that right now.
Yeah, he probably broke a $2.50 piece here on the car, you know.
I think the guy's name was Carl. But anyway, there you see the situation with the Cale Yarborough team.
It looked like they're just changing tires. Might have had a flat tire.
Derek Cope ready to go back to war here.
Undoubtedly, that's what happened. They must just have had a flat tire, so he's back out there again.
In 22 seconds. 22-second pit stop. Back with the leader, Jeff Bodine at 163.4. That's faster than Harry Gant's pole speed for this racetrack back in 1984. Let's take a look back to second place. That interval's about 3 seconds to the second place car, Joe Nemechek, number 41. And there's your third place car, Ernie Irvan, closing up on Nemechek at this time.
Ernie's just running a steady race, and he's just digging away a little at a time. But his car wasn't working real good to begin with. His car was pushing really bad. But looks like after they made that pit stop, they made some adjustments to it, and he's getting through the corner pretty good now, too.
Surprise there as he puts a lap on Terry Labonte. Ernie Irvan.
See how low he can hold the car down now? A while ago, we was watching. He was going from there all the way to the wall and then getting a running start. But they got it dialed in right now.
Well, we have 4 teams that are the dominating teams this year, that is for sure. And Ernie Irvan is 1/4 of that group. Ernie, explain why the same 4 teams have been dominating the series lately.
I would say it's kind of like having a baseball team with 9 players, and 5 of them are all-stars, and the rest are good, but they're just not all-star players. And that's where the big 4 teams, I think, have the big players. They have all the positions filled with top key people, and the other teams are working towards that, and when they get that, they're going to start producing better and better. So we're just all fortunate right now to really have key people in all the positions.
Come down, Wally.
Got a spin and a crash up in turn number 4, and it's John Andretti in the 14 as he wheeled it around.
Yeah, I missed that. I don't know what happened. When I looked up, he was in the ball.
Following the leaders that were down here in turn 2 and up in turn 4, John Andretti had a skirmish with the concrete that's beaten in the front end, and he's bent the right front. That looks serious.
Yeah, he's kind of used up right now, even though they'll probably beat it out and get it going again. He's through racing. He might run a few laps.
John Andretti has given it a real try here in Winston Cup racing this year. 10th at Indy today. It's going to be far further back in this event. He was running in 39th when he got in trouble up here in the 4th turn. He was saying before the race that his dad, Aldo Andretti, a pretty good sprint car driver in his day, and Mario's twin brother, John says, my dad is still warming up to the idea of me racing anything with fenders on. He told Tom Sorensen that.
So his daddy run nothing but open wheel cars. Right. I guess I can say, hey man, but he needed some fenders where he hit that wall there. Need a little bit of cushion.
Wow, that wall comes up so quick and forward, doesn't it? You had a couple of bad ones up here. Let's take a look at what happened to John, Richard.
All right, let's see. Oh, he just lost the back end of the thing. Where he took the air off of the back, off the spoiler right there, and he's probably pretty loose anyway. But the 2 car didn't look like it caused nothing except taking the air off the car.
Leaders are on pit road. There are all 3 of them. Bodine, the 41 of Nemechek, and the 28 of Ernie Irvan, all in the first caution period of the race. It comes at lap 90. Here's Dick Bergman.
Well, Jeff Bodine is in. He's going to take on 4 tires, as is everybody else. This is a very experienced crew. All of these people, except the gas man, who's now Peter Jellin, were with Alan Kulwicki back last year when Jeff Bodine bought the team. Good pit stop for Jeff Bodine. Right behind him is the 41 of Nemechek, also a good pit stop.
19-2 was that first pit stop on Bodine. Continued to do work on the 14 car of John Andretti. Get him back out. This is under caution. Not quite the pressure there's been. A little bit of a breather out here. Do you treat this as a breather, Richard?
Well, I think he's a deal to settle down, okay? They've not had a chance to settle down in the race. They run a full pit stop under green, made a pit stop under green, and then run about half another pit stop, and they need to settle down, and this will get everybody settled down.
So John Andretti is going to get back on the track, but the car certainly isn't the same as it was before it tagged the 4th turn wall in the Coca-Cola 600.
Live this afternoon. We're under caution after John Andretti got into the 4th turn wall. His car's been fixed. He's back out on the racetrack, but everyone else coming on pit road will be ready for the green in just a moment. Among the events we're looking at, the UAW GM sweepstakes. UAW, the United Auto Workers Union, and GM teaming up to build great automobiles across North America. They have a special sweepstakes going on that you can enter. We'll tell you a little more about that. Now, coming up, 2 great Winston Cup events at Pocono. We'll be there for TBS in July. In June the 12th, they have the UAW GM Teamwork 500. The night before, on the 11th, a Tracy Lawrence concert. As you go to Pocono for that event, you can enjoy the Tracy Lawrence show as well. And UAW and GM are teaming up to provide a great drawing, $1 million and some lush VIP getaway trips as well in their big sweepstakes. You can enter by calling 1-800-937-POCONO. That'll get you in the UAW GM Teamwork sweepstakes at Pocono. Or you could send a card to Box 7813, Melville, New York, the zip code 11775. Be sure to get your entry in because the month of June coming up very shortly, just a couple of days from from now, as a matter of fact. We're watching all the pit stops going on here in the Coke 600. Randy Pemberton is on pit road.
Well, they're waiting for John Andretti to come back in the pits. I talked to the guys on the crew, Doug Williams, the crew chief. I asked if John had said anything. Well, prior to the first pit stop he made, he said absolutely nothing. Now, he did have a little right side damage as well as left front damage. They're going to put a string on both tires, running it from the left front to the left rear, right front to the right rear, trying to match the tow out. He did come over the radio just recently and said the car is now wandering. So as far as the cause of the crash, we do not have that at this particular time. But, of course, he has gone 1,100 miles. Kenny Wallace, could fatigue be playing a problem here? Kenny?
Randy, I really don't think so. I wanted to make a comment. I read an article where John said if he would happen to get in trouble in the 600, it would probably be blamed on his, possible fatigue. This is a great race car driver. He had everything in place, all the transportation. I think, I watched turn 3 and 4 all day long. It's got really slippery. There's a lot of bumps over there. It just come up from out from underneath him. But I think we need to remember that he's a good race car driver, and I don't think this can be blamed on all the traveling from Indy to here.
Kenny, I know you're there with a monitor as well. Let's take a look at this replay. Kenny's been running up and down pit road there, getting some reports for us, passing along. Richard's feeling, Kenny, was that the two-car just took the air off the back of that thing. What do you think?
I think you're exactly right. What has happened, we watched the Indy 500 earlier today, and you've seen what happened to Emerson Fittipaldi. Any more days, this time of day we're going so fast. Aerodynamics means so much. Rusty just got up from underneath him, took the air off of his spoiler. And what do we mean by that? Is that, usually there's no car behind you. The air comes around the rear of the car, around what we call the C pillars, puts downforce on the rear. Rusty come up behind him and, got him a little bit loose. But it's just a racing accident. It's unfortunate it had to be John Andretti, the first one.
Indeed.
Was that for 92 pounds?
You're riding with the Derek Cope Fingerhut car. They haven't had much fun today. They were hoping to get out here and get with it. He had a pretty good run.
They made an early pit stop. He must have done had a tire going down, and because he got right back out there and got right back up to speed. So undoubtedly that's what happened.
Here is a look at Jeff Bodine, and here's Andretti back on pit road another time as they administer to the right side of the car. That looks to be more than cosmetic. You saw when it came in, the right tire was kinked, and now they got the string out and they're trying to get some kind of a geometry in there that makes it a little stronger for him and not make it quite so loose.
Well, Richard, you were talking about that early stop for Derek Cope. That was for a tire that, believe it or not, blistered. It's the first blistered tire we've seen here on pit road. I don't think we've got a tire problem because that's the...
Getting set on a restart. It'll have Bodine first, Nemechek second, Irvin third, Wallace fourth, Mast fifth, Mark Martin sixth, followed by Steve Grissom, Jeff Gordon. Back in ninth is Earnhardt, Greg Sachs 10th, Dale Jarrett in 11th, Harry Gant to 12th, Morgan Shepherd 13th, Sterling, and then Ricky Rudd in 15th, Darrell Waltrip a lap down in 16th position. 15 cars in the lead lap as they take green on lap number 96, 144 miles complete. Speed comes down to 150 average after this lengthy stop under caution, 6 laps in that caution period.
They got all this to do again. Everybody's running double dressed and all that kind of stuff, and they'll have to get back in line again.
On board with Mark Martin running in 6th position, closing on Rick Mast. They talk about resurfacing this track as early as this summer. How much do you think it's going to knock the speed up?
Golly. I mean, it's going to be fantastic the speeds they'll be able to run with the new surface, because they're almost running this thing wide open qualifying, and with a little bit more grit in the racetrack, they'll probably be able to run wide open when they smooth it up.
Lap leaders thus far in the event there. They're up there left hand. On board with Bodine, looking back at Nemechek. Hasn't Nemechek done well, Richard? Here he is in 2nd spot, comes right back up.
Again, he's just been regular. The other night he was regular in the Winston race, and they got him a little messed up in after one of the restarts and got him behind. But up to that time he was, and then all of his practice and all his qualifying and everything, he's just been just a real regular run, and that's what he's doing today.
I really thought Darrell was going to have a good run today. He looked pretty good out here the other night in the Winston Select on Saturday night. seemed pretty confident, but the car's now a lap down, trying to find a way to sort itself out and get it back.
Well, if you'll notice some of this kind of stuff here, there's a bunch of good cars that are a lap down. That was a lot of responsibility because they wasn't handling really good right to begin with, or the way they made their pit stops. Maybe their pit stop wasn't quite as good as somebody else's, so they wound up getting a lot of cars down. So I guess there's, what, 15 or 16 laps still on, or 15 or 16 cars still on the same lane.
Yep, up on that lead lap. Jeff Gordon seems to have found the remedy to whatever was ailing 24 in the early going. He's trying to sort him out from some lap cars. Take a look at, I was watching that Mayfield car, Jeremy Mayfield. What a story he is. Jeremy Mayfield, the 02 car. Jeremy Mayfield out of Nashville, Tennessee, getting up in the top 10. And with the intensity which everyone approaches this Charlotte race, to have Jeremy Mayfield who kind of comes in, gives it a good shot, put it together, and out-qualify so many others. Hats off to that. Number 02, Jeremy Mayfield. Ooh, take a look at this. And there is Waltrip a lap down. Gordon scoots to the inside in the 24, brings Terry Labonte and Earnhardt with him. And Earnhardt is in 8th. The car in between is a lap down. You think Gordon is really a natural?
Yeah, he's a natural. To be able to do what he's done and run all the different kind of cars, he's just a natural race car driver. All he needs here is experience.
Labonte a lap down, and here comes Earnhardt trying to work his way back up. Let's go back to the front of the field for a moment.
Yep. The 28 car just passed the lap before, just passed the 41 car, so he's coming along right now. You can bet that he sees him in the mirror.
Earnhardt, Wallace, Martin, and Ernie. They call them the Big Four. And Ernie Irvan, number 28, is moving in on Jeff Bodine for the lead. This at lap 104. Tell you, Bodine with those Hoosier tires, he seems to fade up the track, gets about another 8 feet up. The hole is there, but with the sunlight out there, I don't think you can really muscle a car down on the inside, can you, Richard?
I don't know. The 28 car is thin down there real good. You know, to begin with, he was going up and losing all the time in the corner. But right now, he's trying to catch up, and the 7 car's got the groove, so he can go where he wants to go.
First and second at war. Andretti is back on pit road. John Andretti brings number 14 back in another time. Meanwhile, Nemechek in 3rd, Rusty Wallace now in 4th. From right down there in the low seats.
You got it.
If you're a real fan, that's where you go, low seats. You want to see it all, you got to be up on top. If you really want to hear them.
You want to be part of the show, you get down there.
You
get all the dirt in your face and the whole deal.
Rolling thunder. Like those old dirt tracks, you know, you come out with, get your glasses on, that's about all they could see of you.
He's running at him. There he goes.
Gave it a shot on the inside. Bodine gives him room, stays up that length. He usually stays down till about there and then fades. Not this time. Ernie Irvan slices through for the inside, looking for his 4th win of the season. Ernie Irvan right back on. Riding with Jeff Bodine, the Exide Batteries car, and he's coming right back after it on the inside. It'll be Ernie Irvan leading that lap by about 6 inches. Irvan has led 9 of 11 races this year. But Bodine isn't ready to give it up. He's down on the bottom, and he wants it back. And as those two run side by side, Nemechek in the Meineke car comes back into it. Wallace closes up in 4th and number 2.
Martin's right there. And they're all moving up there now. You got about a 6-car race right now just because they run side by side for a lap or 2.
See John Andretti back on the track, running in 40th position. Every seat sold here today. This $1 million shootout at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. For the moment, Ernie Irvan in 1st, Bodine in 2nd, Nemechek in 3rd, Rusty Wallace in 4th. A lot of new names and a lot of names out here, Richard, like Nemechek getting into this thing, seeing Gordon come out here. Those Burton kids from South Boston, some different than what we've seen.
Yeah, we've got a lot of new rookies coming along right now. We really have.
So we've completed 109 laps. Only one caution so far. John Andretti skinned into the wall. Ernie Irvan leading at the moment. Stay with us. Watching the battle for 13th position. It's Harry Gant in the 33 and the Daytona 500 winner Sterling Marlin, and a lot of smoke has been coming out of 33. Even so, he passed the number 4. Let's see if we can go to the pits and get more on this story.
Well, Ken Squire, I'm working my way down to the Harry Gant pits, but just before that last caution, I did get some information that Harry Gant said he did not think there was a problem with an oil leak, but he did know that his car was smoking coming off of turn 4. We might have to ask Richard Petty whether he thinks that it's tire smoke or oil smoke, and I'll go down and confirm it with the pits.
Well, I'm going to check it out here and see. I hadn't even really paid no attention to that deal. But
take a look. See right there.
That's not tire smoke, buddy. That's oil smoke.
So he may be burning up the rear end of car 33.
He's got some kind of oil leak that's getting on the exhaust or something like that, making the smoke that bad.
Number 82, and he won the 500 here. What a run that was. Taylorsville, North Carolina, and the Bandit in his last performance for Leo Jackson, the 600. Last race at Charlotte will be in October. Back up front. Here's Irvan in first, Jeff Bodine in second, Jeff Gordon in third, Nemechek there in fourth, just coming into the picture. Jeff Bodine doesn't want to let go any more than he did the other night. Thought that was interesting that he spun that car out in the Winston and was able to bring it back.
Yeah, he just got really, really lucky when they hit him from behind and spun him. And there he goes around, man.
Boy, those flaps do work, don't they?
But anyhow, in the deal, the flaps got up, kept the car down, and he got lucky nobody hit him or he didn't hit anybody.
Stand up and cheer. And once again, Jeff Bodine rules.
I don't know where he's done, the 28's done used his tires up or what happened.
Bodine on Hoosier. Ernie Irvan on Goodyear. Bumper cam looking back at Ernie Irvan. He holds it down on the inside there. They work their way out of 4. That fourth turn beat up the small of your back pretty good. 600 miles. Feel it when you get home after?
No, it's not that bad. You sort of allow for all that stuff. I've been watching Earnhardt here. He's just sort of chipping away. They've been up there racing, running side by side. And Earnhardt's just sitting there chipping away at them, 5 or 10 100ths a lap. So it ain't been long. He's going to be right up there with them.
There you see the top 2. Then you see Gordon in third, Nemechek. Behind them comes Mark Martin, Rusty Wallace, and back in 7th is the car number 3 of Earnhardt. This battle for the lead, that's not over. We better stay right here for just a moment.
The more they battle, the easier it is for the boys behind to catch up because they're busy watching each other, paying no attention to anybody else. So they really slow each other down when they get to racing with each other.
We'll look inside at Jeff Bodine working. We saw the interval there, and here comes Nemechek in this battle for third on the inside of Jeff Gordon. Remember that Gordon is Goodyear shod. Nemechek on Hoosiers in this struggle. And right behind them, Mark Martin in 5th.
Well, if you listen to Jeff Gordon talking to his crew, you'd wonder if it's the same car he started the race with. He has periodically radioed in and said the car is pushing. It's pushing terribly. A couple of laps later, he'll radio in and say, now it's loose. I don't understand this. Then he'll radio in and say, it started pushing again. Well, let me tell you what, after that fantastic qualifying run, he just got passed, after that fantastic qualifying run here on Wednesday, they changed just about everything in that car, including the rear end, the engine, the aerodynamic balance, the front suspension geometry, the shocks, and Rusty Wallace has just packed him again. He has just lost 2 spots, while we were talking about all the changes they made in that car just since Wednesday. And I'm sure they're going to make a lot more before this 600-mile event is over.
Rusty Wallace has just made another change. He has pulled himself up into 5th. Jeff Gordon deployed back in 6th, and Joe Nemechek has moved around Mark Martin. So Nemechek goes to 3rd. Mark Martin falls to 4th. We're at 122 laps, 183 miles into this. And I'll tell you another thing that hasn't changed. 43 cars started, Richard, and at 184 miles this time by, all 43 are still running.
That's something.
That's unbelievable.
It really is. It really is.
Rusty Wallace and his Penske team have a never say die attitude.
You know, you was talking about Darrell a while ago.
Competition is getting so much tougher now. Just about the time you think you got a handle on something, somebody's always there. A lot of new names, a lot of new teams, but I told the guys, I said, they keep telling me, boy, it never gets any easier. I said, it's never going to get easier. It's going to get harder, and it's going to get so hard that you're just going to have to make a decision whether you want to be involved in the sport any longer. It's going to get that tough.
And it's certainly showing itself tough out here today. 43 runners still on the field as we get up toward 200 miles complete. Most cars we ever had running at the finish, 34 in that rain-shortened race in 1968. We had 31 in 86. 43 still going out here today. That could be a new record in the Coca-Cola 600 before this one is over.
You going for a 185-mile-an-hour ride with Lake Speed in the Bud Moore Ford this afternoon at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Lake Speed, one of those drivers who we expected good things of today. He started toward the back, but he is currently 14th in the show here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway today. We're almost 1/3 of the way home in the Coca-Cola 600 today, live on TBS. One of the stories we're following, this event is huge in many ways. Biggest race of the summer season, really, in the Winston Cup season. And let's correct what we said. Lake Speed is 31st in the field, I'm told, at the moment. In any case, there's $1 million posted by Winston, the Winston Select Million this year. It's only been won one time in Winston Cup history, Bill Elliott back in 1985. At this running, there are two drivers still eligible for the $1 million. Sterling Marlin, who won the Daytona 500. Dale Earnhardt won the race at Talladega, the Select 500, a while back. And at the moment, here's where they're running. Earnhardt has advanced to 6th, while Sterling Marlin has dropped back to 14th spot. So Earnhardt's certainly in good shape. He's the two-time defending champion here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Huge interest in this because it is the biggest check in the sport if one driver can win 3 of the 4 select races. Daytona, the first Talladega race, here the Coke 600, and then Darlington Labor Day. So if Earnhardt wins today, he'll be in line. All he'll need to do is win the Southern 500 come Labor Day at Darlington. We'll keep you posted on the progress made by both Sterling Marlin in the 4 and Dale Earnhardt in the 3 all evening here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
We're back at lap 130. That's 195 miles. Only one caution in the first 200 miles. That's the way it may be before we get this one free at 600. And we have Earnhardt and Mast in the battle for 6th position. 3 car on the outside and the 1. And Earnhardt's doing...
One car's been digging there with him. But they've been racing all day. You know, they still at it. There's that 29 car right in there with
Grissom, 8.
Yeah, Grissom ain't let them get nowhere. Darrell's been running good. Darrell passed the 3 cars a while ago. He's a lap down, but he was running good.
Yeah, Waltrip is 16th, 1 lap down on Hoosiers. I was surprised that Waltrip, of all people, switched from Goodyear to Hoosier.
Well, I think everybody was. But Darrell's in a situation where he's car owner and driver, and he knows that he's got to do just as good as he can for his sponsor. So he said, okay, I'll play the middle of the road, whichever one I think's the best. And, you know, a lot of times that's probably better from race to race. But, you know, all year long deal, we felt like the Goodyear's going to be the best, and that's the way we're going to go.
Look at Rick Mast. Work on the outside of the 1 for 6th spot. Take it away from Earnhardt. I got to say, those Hoosiers are hanging up on the outside and really working.
Well, they're working anywhere because, you know, that make any difference for it. We got a man leading the race is running in the middle of the track, one running second is running down below him, so, and both of them making the same kind of time.
133 laps now complete in the Coca-Cola 600. Next time by, they'll be at 201 miles. Accident-free except for one little skirmish up here when Andretti's car, John Andretti, skidded up into the 4th turn, had the air taken off the back of his car by car number 2, Rusty Wallace. He brushed the wall, bent it up a little, but he's right back out here racing. 43 still competing through 200 miles. We're about to see 1 car on pit road.
3 cars.
That's Earnhardt. 8th place car. eases down into the pits. This at lap 134. That's a little early, isn't it, Richard?
Yeah, that's a little bit earlier than what he wanted to do. They run in some kind of trouble there, but you got to see, remember, there was a couple, 3 cars started passing him, so maybe his car quit working, and he decides to go ahead and stop and make that adjustment right now.
And that's just what's going on with the Richard Childress team. First time Earnhardt came to this race, he's only run 43 laps since his last pit stop. First time Earnhardt came here, when the race was all over that day, he finished 1 position in front. I think it was like 22nd in front of a guy named Richard Childress. And I've always thought Childress figured, you know, if you can't beat him, join him.
I guess maybe that's what it is.
What a great joining.
What they do, they sit here and you watch these cars, and you know, sharp pit crews, they sit there and they say, okay, you know, we can run 32 seconds or whatever you getting around the racetrack. And all of a sudden you run 32:10 or 32:20. They say, hey, let's get in here and get them tires so we can get back out there and run 32-second laps. So that might be what they're doing right here.
So Earnhardt trying to be the first man to ever win this race 3 times back-to-back. There's a little problem here. Let's see how he'll deal with it in the Coca-Cola 600. Coca-Cola 600, you're watching Jeff Bodine in first, Joe Nemechek in second. Pit stops have begun. We just saw Wally Dallenbach roll the number 43 down pit road, and Billy Stanbridge was in. I think we can get a report from Dick Berggren as to that pit stop by Dale Earnhardt.
Well, Ken Squire, the problem was a tire problem. The right front blister, that is the second Goodyear blister we have seen. One of the right rear for Coke, now one of the right front for Earnhardt.
Kenny Wallace has an update for us in the infield. He's down there on top of a holler somewhere.
Hi, guys. I'm down here on top of Teddy Musgrave's holler. You know, what's happening right now is I'm checking out turns 3 and 4, and I can't see 1 and 2. But behind you guys, the sun's starting to go down. I'm concerned about that blister because, as Richard Petty knows as a race car driver, the sun's starting to go down. They're going to go faster. They're going to enter turn 1 quicker. So, you know, we're just going to have to really keep an eye on that. Another thing I want to say, that this is unbelievable. This race has gone absolutely flawless. I've watched these guys go into turn 3, 2, and 3 wide. For there not to be an accident this deep into the race, it's pretty unbelievable. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Kenny. All right, from the top of Musgrave's truck where he's getting that observation. Now, what about this? As the sun goes down, I know it's been a while, but you've run 32 races, and you've run day and night. What's the circumstance going to be here?
The deal is he's right. What happened is the sun goes down, the track gets quicker, and the cars get tighter, and if they're using up those right front tires right now, there could be some problems later on.
Randy LaJoy out of Norwalk, Connecticut has just pitted. But it's been so flawless for everybody. I just can't imagine. I can't think when you've gone with the entire field this deep into a race.
Well, you know, when they first started, I said, man, this is going to be something else because they were running side by side and everybody was racing.
And sideways.
And the deal is that the tires are working, the cars are working, and if they make a little bit of jumping around, then the other man sort of give them room so far. Nobody's really crowded anybody. As long as they don't crowd anybody, then we're going to be okay. But later on in the race, when they get to really racing, they might start crowding each other.
Bodine and Nemechek stay up in front, and right now Mark Martin is on pit road. That's the 7th place machine.
See, some of these cars have stopped early, like you say. They probably started feeling they was having tire problems. Now the Hoosiers will probably run that much further now. And if you're not careful, if they run the whole race under green, then somebody's going to have to make extra pit stops over some of the other people. So that's going to be interesting too.
Isn't it incredible? You think about it. Change those tires faster than they can put that fuel in.
Yeah, that really gets something. You know, you're trying to put 22-gallon of gas in the car and just four tires, and they can change the tires faster than the gas you put in.
22.5 was the time on that pit stop, and I see a car going back to the garage area. I think our first retiree has just happened, and that is number 47. As you see, Sterling Marlin sliding in. Billy Stanbridge has gone back to the garage. We may have our first retiree from the event. It's idling back 6-8 miles an hour. 4 tire change taking place here on the Kodak car number 4. Yeah.
Steve Grissom, you know, Steve's been running good all day again, and he's done got up there. And Rick Nance has got past Ernie Irvin also.
front standings have Bodine first, Nemechek second, and Grissom has just moved up.
That's 4 Hoosier tire cars. They're all right now starting to dominate that part of it.
Bobby Hamilton has just pitted in car number 40. See the 90, Mike Wallace has come in the Heilig Myers car. Bodine first, Nemechek second. Now look at this, 2 and 28 are at it. That's for 5th. See Waltrip running a lap down just behind them. Bodine first, Nemechek second, Grissom is 3rd, then Mast is 4th, and here's Wallace. Underneath Ernie Irvin to take 5th. That puts Gant to 7th. Old Smoker continuing to roll around out there. They're going to put the black flag on it a while.
Well, whatever was smoking a while ago must not have got any worse because he's still out there digging along.
Apparently he's taking up chewing.
Well, guys, there's been a lot in the media about the Big Four. The Big Four in Winston Cup competition this year. You got a caution?
Yes, we do. We have 2 cars in the wall. One is Bodine, and the other is the Bobby Labonte car, the Maxwell House car.
Okay, now some of these boys are going to get some free pit stops here.
And Waltrip right down the pit road taking avoidance.
Yeah, that's Strickland right in there behind him. Some of these cars are stopped and some of them haven't, so that's going to be free pit stops to the ones that haven't stopped.
So for Bobby Labonte of Corpus Christi, Texas, that Maxwell House car, and look at 26. Kenny Bernstein's team's on. The 22's gone right back behind the wall. They'll start working on it back there and maybe try to resurrect something, but that looks savage.
This put Earnhardt behind a lap, even though he was been running 5th and 6th and 7th. He's a lap down because he stopped and the other 5 or 6 people hadn't.
We'll have a replay on this incident in turn 4. That is the second caution period of the day. 6 lead changes among 5 drivers so far in the 600. Earnhardt will have lost a lap here to put him back in 17th position. And let's take a look again at what happened to Brett Bodine.
Here they come around here, and the 22 is getting ready to make a pit stop, and the 26 hits him and doesn't see him, knocks him on in the pit. But that's what happened. The 22 was stopping, and the 26 just run up on him so quick at running the back of him. Just not paying attention to really what was going on.
Now, if you want to see it from trackside, take a look at this.
I don't want to see it from trackside, but yeah, but you showed it better right there. You can see that Bobby had slowed down, and they just wind up running right in the back of him.
Well, that's the end of the day for the Quaker State car.
The 22 car don't look in too good a shape, but they'll probably able to beat it back out and get him.
Yeah, they drove it. They drove that one in, but on the hook is the 26. And the field now on pit road. So Earnhardt, with that early stop, now finds himself jammed up a lap down. He's got some running to do if he intends to make it 3 in a row here.
Him and Darrell both been running real good speeds. Darrell done got his lap down because of the pit stops and stuff they had before. So now you got 2 real good running cars. It's a lap down that shouldn't be, but circumstances has done caught up with him.
Kenny Wallace down there has been getting the story on this incident. Kenny, what's up?
Okay, I just talked to Bobby Labonte. You know, it's one of these Speedway pit stops, like Richard said. You know, you're trying to get around the bottom of the racetrack. That's the groove. That's where you want to run. Bobby holds his hands up, says he's coming down pit road. 26 car doesn't see him. This is what happens right here. It's a bad story. Bobby Labonte had a good run going.
Sun have anything to do with that?
It could have. It really could have, because the sun is right over the number 4 corner. And you're coming around there, and I can't see from here. But, yeah, I can remember the sun being real bad here. And you got a dirty windshield. Everybody's getting ready to stop. You got the grease on it. And like you say, all you got to do is just take your eyes off of it.
Richard, take a look at turn 4. There's the sun from the side.
You can't really see it from here, but what happened, everything reflects off of everything. And you come around and it's light, and then when you go into that dark area, it's just like somebody puts their hands in front of your eyes. So it's really, really hard to be able to see it. And that was probably what made some of it anyway, that's for sure.
You see the activity here on car number 22, and indeed they are going to try to get him back in. And here's Harry Gant on pit road, and they're working on
they're still looking for that smoke that's been going all day.
That sure looked like it was coming out of the tail end.
Well, what happens is it leaks on the headers up front.
So it was a header leak?
A valve gasket or something. Yeah. Leaks on there, and then it goes all out under the car, and by the time it gets back there, it's a lot bigger smoke than it is under the hood.
Randy?
Well, Joe Nemechek was in. I went over and talked to crew chief Doug Richard after the pit stop. I asked him if they changed anything on the car. They said they changed a little bit of air pressure on a pit stop prior to that. This time they changed absolutely nothing but 4 tires, added the gas, they dropped it and left it out there, let it go out. Dick Bergman has more on Jeff Bodine.
Well, they're about as happy with their car as apparently Nemechek is with his. They changed the air pressure in the right side tires 1 pound. That's kind of like sneezing in them. Other than that, they put fuel and 4 tires on the car, and they're off and out of here.
Brett Bodine.
It's a little bit more than sneezing in them, okay, guys? They're not doing it for the exercise. I mean, you know, they're looking at changing the spring. When they change a temperature on the tire or the pressure on the tire there, they can change it 50 pounds or 100 pounds. It's like putting in more spring. I mean, when I say 100 pounds, that's 100-pound spring, not 100 pound on the tire.
We're under caution at lap 155 for this crash that's eliminated Brett Bodine in his 5th 600 start, 9th 600 start, 5th DNF. In Charlotte, North Carolina, beautiful crowd, every seat taken. And there you see from the Revestis aerial platform, this 1.5-mile facility where they're running the 35th annual Coca-Cola 600, where we're 156 laps into it and getting set to go racing once again, 234 miles complete. And as they line up, it'll be Bodine first, Nemechek second, Urban third, Wallace fourth, Rick Mast fifth, Dale Jarrett sixth, Gordon next, then Steve Grissom 8th, Ricky Rudd, Greg Sachs 10th, Morgan Shepherd 11th, and Harry Gant in 12th, all in the lead lap. Martin goes a lap down to 13th, Earnhardt 14th, Waltrip 15th, and then the Burton brothers are 16th and 17th, Ward and Jeff respectively, as we take green once again. Again, it's Bodine out in front as they scoot into turn number 1. And there's the bumper cam on Bodine's car, giving it a shot back to Joe Nemechek, trying to close in on it. Hoosiers running first and second, then Goodyear tires on the cars in third and fourth, and there's a story there. Let's go to Randy Pemberton, who can tell us more about that.
Well, just prior to the pit stop, as much as you hate it to be a tire race, it sure does appear to be that. Jeff Bodine, Joe Nemechek, Steve Grissom, and Harry Gant were all on Hoosiers. The only car that was able to stay up there, Rusty Wallace. Mark Martin also made a bid on Goodyear tires. But those were the big 4, the best that have been running so far this year on the Winston Cup circuit. And also you have to throw in Greg Sachs, who's also on Hoosiers. The bottom line is it's been a Hoosier race.
We got a wild race up here in front, as you just saw. Nemechek just shot it down in there. What'd you think of that?
Hey, man, he must have caught him up 3 lengths up coming up down through there. But then he goes on through the corner there and lost his little time, and he gained down the front. So I bet he was running so fast when he got to the 3rd corner, it didn't make no difference about turning.
Not very often you get Richard Petty to cover his eyes when you see those guys go into a corner. But you did just then. Nemechek in second. Wild man out there for the moment. Rusty Wallace in the 2-car lies fourth from Bodine's bumper cam, looking back at Joe Nemechek in second place.
28 car making his bid down in there.
How fast do you think here? Oof. Here they come. Underneath. Struggle for second as you look back from Bodine, and going to the bottom, taking the spot, is Ernie Irvin. And he brings with him Rusty Wallace. Nemechek falls to 4th. He may fall to...
There comes Mark. Mark Martin going.
Mark Martin is there, side by side with him. We're at lap 160.
Snooze, you lose, don't you?
Gosh, not much time for snoozing out here. Martin is there. Nemechek falls back. He's now 6th. Let's go down to the STP Pit Center. Rick Benjamin.
Well, Ken, we're pleased to welcome Brett Bodine to the STP Pit Center, but not this early in the race. We wish you'd been able to come to the checkered flag. You went right to the front early against these drivers. Your brother, Ernie Irvin, Rusty Wallace, who's stout out there.
Well, I think the 7, the 41, they're awful tough on long runs.
The Hoosier cars have an advantage?
Well, it looks that way, but, hopefully when it cools off, the Goodyears will come back at them.
You're feeling okay?
Oh, yeah, awful dejected. I lost Bobby Labonte in the sun over there. I just put new tires on, and we were much faster than the cars on older tires. And going from 3 and 4, that sun is right in your eyes. And going into 3, I seen him up ahead of me about 20 car lengths.
halfway through the corner, the sun hits you in the eye, and you're kind of running blind for a second.
Yeah.
Next thing I knew, I was running right in the back of him.
Richard Petty, who's on with us today, theorized that might have happened, that you might have lost him there in the sun. The windshields get dirty here pretty quickly, don't they?
Exactly, and that sun is brutal right now over there in the fourth turn.
Of the cars running up front, who might have something other than this lead group as we watch 9 cars take it down into turn 1. Mark Martin looks awful strong.
Well, it's just the tires seem to be different. Everybody seems to be running different after they make a pit stop. Some guys get a better match set. It's just going to play out, see who's got the best stuff at the end of the race. It's tough to call right now. Conditions are going to change a lot before the checkered flag falls.
Once it really cools. Well, Brett Bodine, thanks for coming on with us tonight.
Thank you.
Up in front, Bernie Irvin, Rusty Wallace in a struggle. Ooh! Tight running. Looks like poor Rick Mast. Something's happened, I think, on the number 1 car. It's backing up. He almost got collected. That battle up in front is now a Goodyear battle between Wallace and Irvin. The car we're trying to sort out here, too, is Mark Martin, who is trying to get his lap back. Martin is lying third. Look at that sun as you come out that fourth turn. Dead on in your eyes. And Mark Martin has brought the 6 car up. He wants to round the 28 and the 2 and see if he can get back in here and be in that lead lap. At this moment, there are 12 cars in the lead lap. Wallace, Irvin, Bodine, Jarrett, Mast, Nemechek 6, Gordon 7th, Grissom 8th, Rudd 9th, Sachs 10th, Shepard 11th, Gant 12th, and then Mark Martin that lap down.
You see, on the racetrack, they're not running that way. Mark Martin's running 3rd, and Dale Earnhardt's running 5th on the racetrack, and they're a lap down, so they're trying to make their laps up.
Rusty Wallace, for the moment, in the lead, in his favorite race car.
Our car's running good. There's a really good shot that we can win the 600. There really is. Our Ford engines have been real reliable, and the car's been handled well. I've got Midnight, my favorite car, the one I won so much with last year. And I got other cars that are just as good, but this one's stuck in my head since I've had so much success to keep running it. But we're in good shape, and I can very easily win the 600.
The 1990 Coca-Cola 600 winner. Says it's going to be easy to win it again. Does one car, you kind of favor one after a while? When you look back over all those 200 wins, a couple of cars that you wish you hadn't caught up or put out back?
Yeah, I think you wind up doing that. We wound up in 1967 and, won all those races stuff. But we built one new car. I fell out of 4 races that year with a brand new car. So we finally threw that thing away and went back to the old car. And I think it is. Cars are like people. They got personalities.
They do?
Yes, sir. Believe it or not, they got personalities. And you get to liking something or liking a car, the way it feels, and the way it reacts, basically, to what you're looking for. Everything you do to it, you can feel. Some cars are just better.
I've got an antique car. My wife says that it's the ugliest thing. Anytime she gets near it, it decides not to run. Take a look at Ricky Rudd going under Rick Mast here. And let's go back and replay for a second, Richard, and look at what happened to Mast here. Had us all taking a deep breath.
Yeah, he got up on a little bit on the outside there, and the car got away from him a little bit. So he just all but touched the wall. And then the car behind him runs into him. And all this stuff kind of takes you breath. It takes you a little while then to get it all gathered back up. Man, he did. I didn't even know he went out in there like that.
Well, a little agricultural
and that's what happened
there.
to Nemechek. That's the reason Nemechek's so far back in the...
Whoops. Got some parts and pieces out there. We did have some parts and pieces out there. Ooh. Caution is out. They've caught up with that. They want the yellow out. Last thing you need to do is have somebody penetrate a tire off something like that. So Wallace, Irvin come across the line. Mark and Dale didn't get to make their lap up on that one. Take another shot at it. Rick Mast is in quickly. So while they're dusting off the Speedway here at Charlotte, we'll pause for a commercial break and be back with more. There are now 170 laps complete in the
As Winston Cup stock car racing fans, we're spending the 1994 season saying goodbye to one of this sport's all-time great drivers. Harry Gant is riding off into the sunset, but the memories of his spectacular career will never fade away. Harry's made quite an impact on the sport since his first start way back in 1973.
the wall. Gant goes back in the traffic. The car just missing him. My goodness.
But every true racer takes a few bumps on his way to victory lane. For Harry, we'll remember those bumps and bangs, but more than anything, we'll remember his victories. And we'll remember that incredible month of September 1991, when Harry Gant captured the imagination of racing fans everywhere, winning 6 consecutive NASCAR races, 4 Winston Cup and 2 Busch Grand National events at the age of 51. We were just wild about Harry. And as the years go by, Harry Gant will remember those great moments that made him a legend, memories that will never grow old. We'll remember those moments too. Thank you, Harry.
Thank you indeed, Harry Gant. 258 miles have been completed, 172 laps. Here is car number 4 coming out right behind the 33. Here he is coming in a moment ago. Rubber, a pliable substance often used in tires. Pliable? Huh. Piece of rubber did that.
Well, yeah, when you run over,
applied that right.
They ran over that tire like that, and that just pushed all that stuff back up in there. Now they got to get something to hold it out. So that's about half fiberglass, some kind of stuff, and it don't break as bad as it bends.
On pit road, the pit stops had Wallace in at 16.6, Irvin at 18.3, Bodine at 19.7. And on the racetrack, as we get ready to resume, it's Wallace at the point with Ernie Irvin in second, Jeff Bodine in third. The 4th place man will be Jeff Gordon, and running 5th on the field, Dale Jarrett, with Morgan Shepherd 6th, Ricky Rudd 7th. We're going to have 12 cars back in the lead lap. Randy?
Well, Rick Mast is back in the pits. Prior to that caution, Rick almost caused the caution on the front stretch. They came in 3 different times now. They pulled the quarter panel out. It does have a little damage where he made contact with another car. He's called for some stop leak as well. His water temperature is going up. As far as Joe Nemechek is concerned, they just changed 4 tires. Jeff Bodine changed 4, put in a round of wedge, just trying to tighten the car up just a little bit. Also, Terry Labonte and the 31 car, the Hardee's car of Ward Burton, were in just regular pit stops and 4 tires. Dick Berggren?
Well, Ernie Irvin's car is very close to being right. When he came in, they just loosened it up 1 round and sent him off. The 24, Jeff Gordon's car is a little bit tight. They are hoping and praying for an eclipse. They want this sunshine to go away so the car will stabilize. It is not yet stabilized, and they changed the car just a little bit. Rusty Wallace's car was both pushing and a little bit loose, depending on where in the corner we're talking about, and they adjusted air pressure.
We've got a crash in the main straightaway. Grissom in number 29 on the restart as he came up through the gears. Into the wall, head on. And the leaders are racing around. He was in 10th spot. Remember, they'll race back to the green. Take a look down here in the main straightaway. Car number 29 lies right in the center of the track as they come back around. They're telling him on the radio.
Earnhardt made his lap up.
Earnhardt has made his lap up. Earnhardt coming through. Oh, Kyle Petty just getting by.
Kyle made his up.
Oh, another moment. Didn't your blood pressure go up at all, Richard? That looked to me like Kyle might very well find the back end of that 20.
No, he's seen it. I knew he'd seen the car, so I wasn't worried about that. The deal is, I don't like anybody take that close a chance. That was pretty much of a chance right there. But he was a couple laps down, so that made a lap up for him. But that put Earnhardt back in the go.
Into the 13th position. Kyle was 3 laps back. That makes him up 1.
That makes him 2 laps.
And, the rest of the field still coming by. As car number 29 on the start. Remember, he was having such a great run today. He was in 10th on that start. Hammers it into the wall.
Been running so regular, not taking any chances or anything, you know.
Coming down for the start. Here's how it looked.
I'll find out where he's at here.
In 10th for that. Harry Gant was right behind him.
Yeah, but I don't know if he didn't run into the boy right in front of him. That's what it looks like it might have happened.
Get another view here in a moment. Gant is on pit road, and here they are racing back to the line. They have to come all the way around. I'll tell you what worried me was not so much Kyle, it was that there was a car on the outside of them.
Well, both of them seen what was going on. They allowed for it. I didn't understand the 2 car not racing back to try to beat the 3 car though. That kind of surprised me.
You think that's somebody on the radio that?
Well, yeah, but what happened? They knew it was clear. All they had to do was say run high and you're okay. But they came around side by side in the 4th corner and the 2 car went off and let the 3 go.
You see Earnhardt, who's now back in that lead lap. He's made it up just like he did a year ago. Remember, he was a lap down. He made it up and came back to win. Let's see if he can pull that off again today.
Hey, race fans, Budweiser asks, who won? It was May 29th, 1988 at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. The 600-mile classic getting underway. The 28 of Davey Allison led from the pole with Jeff Bodine's number 5 alongside. While those two greats battled it out for the lead, another superstar was working his way to the front. The familiar black number 3 with Dale Earnhardt on board moved up from the 7th starting spot and into contention for the victory. While these three great racers were duking it out at the front of the pack, two more of the day's top stars were quietly waiting for the latter stages of the 600 to make their move to the front of the pack. Car 17 with Darrell Waltrip on board. Rusty Wallace in the 27 holding back to see how the battle up front would sort itself out. But whose strategy worked that day? Here's the list of contenders. The answer in a moment.
80 laps complete. 3 wide back here as they sandwich them, trying to fight their way into this 600. 270 miles are complete. Wallace is leading. Irvin is second. Bodine is third. Jeff Gordon fourth. Dale Jarrett fifth. Morgan Shepherd in sixth. Going a little further back on the back straightaway, there's Ricky Rudd, seventh. Nemechek in eighth, trying to move up. In ninth is Sachs. Earnhardt is now to 10th. Harry Gant 11th, and Rick Mast is 12th. Now Mast came out of the track very late. He and Sterling Marlin. The field was actually coming down out of turn 4, getting ready to take green, and they were just exiting pit road. So they're just a half a lap from being overlapped by those leaders. And remember that Mast is on the lead lap. He's in 12th position.
Yeah, they've been making a lot of pit stops. They've been working up under the hood there trying to do something with the car.
Sterling Marlin's back in 24. Well, they've got a little more shadow out on that racetrack. Helps the vision situation. How about the tires?
Well, I don't know. They didn't have any troubles with the tires at that time. But what happened now, you're going to see the car start running quicker and quicker. And as it cools off and that sun gets off of it, then you're going to see a little bit different race. You're going to see some of these cars that didn't run too good change, and some of that, you know, as far as who's running and who's not. But the Goodyears seem to really run good with new tires. Now, how they're going to fade at night, we're going to have to wait and see.
Dale Jarrett there in 5th position now with the Joe Gibbs car, number 18. Got a couple of cars pitting. Here's Labonte coming in, and also Derek Cope is pitting another time. You see the 18 car with Morgan Shepherd right after him in the 21.
And the 18 car's been running good. Dale's got up there to 4th or 5th. I guess he's 5th right now. And, you know, nobody said anything with him. Uh-oh. There's Earnhardt again, right? But nobody said anything about him, but he's just been steady, just knocking along there, right looking at him all the time.
Some move by number 3, Earnhardt. Again, Jarrett looking as good as he has in some time out here, fighting with Morgan Shepherd. 16 months since Dale visited Victory Lane. And he's about forgotten what it feels like.
We've got one in the wall.
Oh, we've got one
3.
In trouble in 3, spinning, crashing all the way around. Waltrip just getting by.
40 car.
And that is the Bobby Hamilton car out of the Sabetta stable. Lost up in turn 2. And Waltrip coming for sure, looked like he was going to collect him. Somehow just barely missed the spinning car number 40 of Nashville, Tennessee's Bobby Hamilton.
That winds up saving Rick Mast from getting lapped. He's going to be able to catch back up and stay in the same lap with him now.
Wallace coming around, getting set to pit here. A little flat spot of those tires. He was in 29th position, 3 laps down when that incident took place. Boy, it looked for all the world like Waltrip was on his way out of this thing, the 5-time winner.
Wallace got lucky. The car went back up the track instead of kept coming down.
Yep.
Darrell made his move to the inside and just made the right move, and everything worked out good for him.
So many times that inside move gets you in trouble.
We was lucky. That's another 1-car wreck. We had 1-car wreck here and then 1-car wreck there. There was 2 in one of them up there. Had 3 1-car wrecks in one double car wreck, so that's pretty good.
An observation from Kenny Wallace.
Steve, you were really running good, man. Started 28th, moved up to 5th. We've been talking about you all day. What happened?
Well, it's just kind of one of those deals there on the restart. Everybody's trying to get going, and I don't know, somebody must have missed a shift or something. We was just checked up there a little bit. And, it was just one of those deals. There wasn't enough room for everybody to be at.
Yeah, this is a shame. A new team. You guys will start out first this year trying to get some good points. Gary Bechtel put a good team underneath you. You're running great today. So, I guess you go on to Pocono.
Yeah, that's true. I tell you, Gary Carlin Bechtel, super people. This whole team, my hat's off to them. The car drove super. It was just having fun, kind of logging laps there and trying to get toward the end.
Okay, back to you guys.
Take a look at this, Richard. Elmo Langley in a tremendous battle with Rusty Wallace out there.
I seen going down here in the first corner. They've got an Elmo Langley fan club.
Have they?
Yeah, they've got a few people out there.
Car driver?
Yeah, he's got his banners and the whole thing, man.
Oh, poor Elmo. The other day, Irvin and Earnhardt, and I think Wallace, they were all out there when he was on the track.
Well, you got to figure.
They used up the paint on two sides in the bumper.
They get to arguing with him and stuff, and they tell him, "Say, look, man, I bled more laps than y'all had." That's the way,
Let's take a look at the replay.
All right.
Turn 2, Bobby Hamilton, loose.
Yeah, he was up there all by himself. I don't know what happened up to that time, but he really got lucky because he hadn't hit anything. He's doing all the sliding and the whole. There was Darrell when the car stayed up, but he get lucky. Nobody hit him. He didn't even hit the fence. He just got up in the loose stuff and was able to just come around with 4 flat tires, 4 wore out ones anyway.
Definitely worn out. Probably wore out ODW's heart a little too when he came around and saw that guy.
Yeah, he might have 4 flat ones too where he locked her down. Because here's a whole
Nemechek
of a bunch of people making pit stops.
9th place car, Nemechek. Boy, what a job he's done. Here's Randy.
It's a miscommunication, guys. He was on the lead lap. He had the opportunity to come in the lap before, did not, just kind of missed it. So miscommunication. They're in now for 4 tires. Originally, Jeff Bodine was going to come in and take on gas only. He elected to stay out, and now Joe Nemechek goes back out. Absolutely will kill his track position.
Track position counts for so much on this 1.5 miles, Richard.
Well, it really does, especially after a caution. Okay, and everybody with cautions got 4 new tires, and everybody races for a few laps, so you can get behind right quick if you're not up in line.
We're about 13 laps away from the halfway distance at 200 laps. We're 300 miles into it. Do you get worn out in the 600-mile event?
I always did.
More than other races? More than like a Dover, Delaware, or a Pocono?
No, not really. You know what I mean? I tell you, the time of day, and it's a lot better now. But when it was really, really a hot day, it really just takes everything and starch out of all the drivers. But, Dover does the same thing. But this has made it a lot nicer for a 600-mile race. You run 4.5 hours now, and it really doesn't bother you that bad.
How long would it take you to recuperate after a 600-mile race in the old days? You start at noon and you'd race till 5:30.
You're ready to go the next day. I mean, it's no big deal.
Really?
Yeah, they might, pull you out of the car when the race is over, but, on Monday morning, you're at the shop working on the car, getting ready for the next week.
Let's get a racing update on what else is going on this weekend quickly as we get set to re-go in the 600. Here's Rick Benjamin.
Well, Ken Squire, we've certainly got a lot of racing action, not just here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Of course, the Indy 500 today. The IMSA cars also in action at Lime Rock Park in Connecticut tomorrow. We're going to show you some highlights of what's gone on in the Auto Week in racing today here from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. We can show you what happened yesterday during the Busch Grand National Champion Sparkplug 300. Cars came down to take the green flag yesterday. And up front, it was Mark Martin quickly getting toward the lead, even though a lot of familiar names were a little deeper in the pack. Martin started in the 5 spot yesterday. There was a bad crash about midway through this event. Several cars involved. It looked as though Stanton Barrett, a rookie contender, may have made a wrong move. Chad Little bought the outside wall very hard, suffered some injuries, broken bones, and a possible concussion. Phil Parsons took advantage after a late pit stop and made a great move to the victory. Here's your pole qualifier for tomorrow's event at Lime Rock Park in Connecticut. This is Alicio Salazar at 109 miles an hour in a Ferrari in the World Sports Cars. And earlier today at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Al Unser Jr. took his new Penske Mercedes to victory off the green flag. Al sat on the pole. He led early on. Emerson Fittipaldi was leading with only about 20 laps to go. Fittipaldi there got into the wall coming out of turn 4. Al Unser Jr. then went on all alone under caution to claim the victory in Indianapolis today. There's the phone number if you'd like to order Auto Week. And it's an 800 number, toll-free, easy for you. We're back live at Charlotte. Ken?
Indeed, we are at lap 189.
And Mark Martin down there trying to make his lap up.
There's the number 6 car. That's Martin on the bottom. Getting up underneath Ernie Irvin, going for Rusty Wallace. Pontiac stays in first.
That's a Ford.
I beg your pardon. You know, I don't want to put you back. You're absolutely dead on.
Yeah, Martman made a slip down there, and a whole bunch of them went by him.
Of course, Felix has put, something's happened to Mark Martin here, putting up his hand, falling back. Pyro Automotive Chemicals. Ooh, he got hit by Earnhardt in the 3.
Earnhardt used him up.
Oh, bad hit. Martin all used up. 6, 7, 8, 9 car jam. Kyle got 31. Into it.
Yeah.
Lap 189. Mark Martin's car lies in the bottom, all torn up. Still fires. You saw him put his hand up. He pulled up on the outside. He got collected, driven down the track. Here's Rick Maston, had that great run going, was in 12th position, had made up that lap, found himself back among the leaders. Earnhardt had made up the lap. Here's the Pyro car coming in now, the Valvoline car of Mark Martin. He was trying to make up a lap. He was up among the front
but then
three.
he had some kind of trouble because he had slowed down. Everybody'd seen him except Earnhardt. Earnhardt just drove right up in the back seat with him, and he's still out there and knocked out 4 or 5 cars. 6 cars then. Okay, I got close.
Ward Burton was one of them, Richard. Kyle got it. Yeah. The 9 car was in that one. Rich Bickle had no place to go. Mark Martin, as we mentioned, the 32 car, and I think there's going to be more. You're right. I think it's 8 or 9 cars before we see the end of this one. Waiting for Dick Trickle's car.
Earnhardt, it's kind of busted the grill and stuff up on him. They put a little tape on him, sent him on back out to go again.
So at lap 192, caution is out. Major incident. At least 8 cars in turn 4. More on it in a moment. From the Rebestos aerial platform, take a look at what happened here. Caused this major incident. Mark Martin backing up through 4 or 5 cars.
Where Earnhardt just ran right in the back, and then there wasn't no place for him to go either, though. And then the 31, and one of them gets the wall.
Dick Trickle catching the front of the Mark Martin car.
All right, Kyle got caught up in it there.
Yeah, just took a little piece out of the side of Greg Sachs. Greg Sachs was the luckiest one out there.
Yeah, going right through the middle.
Another angle. Take a look at this, and you'll see where Earnhardt had no room at all. You're on the brakes in front of him. He pulls up. Now it gets worse.
Okay, the 30 car slows down, and Earnhardt moves up to hit it, miss him, and then he runs into the 6 car,
which was running slower.
Yeah.
Look at that 77 car.
They went by him on both sides, and he's still slowing down and waits for everything, and they hit him on both sides. He just did touch the 31 car. Kyle's in there on the outside of it.
From Mark Martin's in car. This is where it began. Okay. Something happened.
See, he's got his hand up. Right. Yeah, he's trying to tell him what's going on.
He's trying to come down. Bang.
Yeah, you'll feel it again in a minute. See there, he hit him again. Wow.
Bad day for Mark Martin.
Bad day for a bunch of them up there. And a good day that they're all walking away. That too.
Mark Martin certainly had one of the cars to beat today. What happened?
We could have left her tire down right there in the front of the pack, and before I could get to the inside, they started passing me on the inside and the outside. I knew I was going to wreck. I had a tire down, you know, and there wasn't no way to hold it. I don't know. They started running into me in the left front, and the wreck was on. But, you know, it's hard to drive that thing with one tire down, and it's especially hard to drive it with cars passing on both sides and a tire down.
Mark, how frustrating was it out there? The Hoosier cars seemed to be so good.
They're pretty good. We had a great race car, man. We had a car that was going to be a contender tonight, and we were messing around, and we had some bad luck. Thought we had a tire going down, and pitted early, and then the caution came out and got us a lap down. But I believe we were going to make it up. I believe we'd have got our lap back before it was all over with. And it was a super car and a super run, and now it's a heap of junk.
Let's take a look at it again and listen to the action.
Okay, guys, this is complete pandemonium down here. We've never had this big of a crash. There must be 6 or 7 cars. The one car Rick Mass led early, had a great night going. You can pan out and see all this action. They're trying to get this car back in the race. The radiator's all the way into the fan, so it's wild down here right now, guys.
Yeah, that certainly bruised that one badly. And that car 6, that was the same car that got beaten up in the Winston Select. They rebuilt the whole thing for him, and to have it end like this. There's Michael Waltrip, broken shoulder blade and all down there on the inside, still trucking.
Yeah, I'm glad I hate anybody gets in a wreck, but I'm glad he wasn't in there because it would have just hurt him that much worse. There goes the tire. Good shot there. The 31 had no place to go. The 32 was run into the wall.
Great.
41 got through. Here comes the 77 car. Here comes the 9 car under him, 15 car. The 77 car is still going.
Dick Berggren.
Well, Dale Earnhardt gets the award for working the hardest on his car. I should say his crew is. Recall that early in this race, he was complaining that the car was pushing. It was understeering. Well, they have come in on virtually every caution period, given up track position consistently to adjust his car. He's in the back of the pack, but they are getting close. And Earnhardt's on the lead lap.
197 complete as they go back to green. Wallace first, Irvin second, Bodine third, Gordon fourth. Dale Jarrett 5th, Morgan Shepherd, Ricky Rudd, Joe Nemechek 8th, Harry Gant 9th, Earnhardt 10th. 10 cars lead lap when they come by 2 laps from halfway. Wallace in the Ford, Richard.
Okay, you done good that time.
Right with him, Ernie Irvin with the Ford.
I suppose.
Trying to help the Pontiac guys out.
I hear you. The Goodyears really take off. They work good to begin with.
Bodine on Hoosiers back there in third.
And a couple lap cars between them. Yeah. But they're both on Hoosiers.
Look at this group.
Yeah, this is 67 right in there.
See that 30 car hanging right in? Michael Waltrip injured out here, running 16th. Halfway this time by. Halfway this time by. After Michael Waltrip looked like a candidate to win out here yesterday, and he faded, and I'm sure the pain was part of what got him. He faded to 3rd spot. And yesterday's race was over, and Phil Parsons had that great victory. Michael Waltrip was quoted in the paper this morning, said, "I'm real happy for Phil Parsons. I'm proud he kicked everybody's butt." And of course, Michael Waltrip was the guy that lost and finished 3rd.
A lot of people just pull him for Phil because he's been up and down and in and out, and you know they don't like to see nobody. Like to see everybody get a good break, and he got a good break yesterday. You know, it's not that bad a race car driver. He's just in and out, and they keep him floating around, so it makes it really hard for him to settle down.
But it's that attitude by Michael Waltrip that makes this sport so special, makes you so proud to be associated with it. He gets beaten, he's driving out there in pain, he's doing the best he can do in that car number 30. And he takes his hat off and says how proud he is of the guy that won.
He gives him kind of a benefit of the doubt, too. He said, "Now, I know if I was 100%, I'd beat him."
Yeah.
So he's always got that.
You've got to give him that.
Oh, yeah.
We used to give you that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So Wallace stays up in front. Ernie Urban hanging right on. You see Jeff Gordon in the 24 car, and he's got a mitt full of Morgan Shepherd.
And Morgan, we hadn't heard a whole lot from Morgan. He's just been there. He's been regular. And you know, maybe it's time. They didn't run half the race. Maybe it's time for Morgan to get involved in it.
The third car in the field is a lap car. That's the number 8. It is Jeff Burton, who is running in 11th spot. He's 1 lap down. Look at Gordon coming back again from the bumper cam. Bodine. Bodine is in 3rd. Gordon back there in 4th and closing. And here comes Morgan Shepherd. Morgan fades it up to the outside a little. Ricky Rudd is also there. He's in the lead lap with the tied car, number 10.
I hadn't heard no tell of him. He's just been there running the first 8 or 10 all day long. Now they're starting to take advantage of that particular position that they got on the track.
That's what we talked about yesterday, the old Petty thing, you know. You're just in there, nobody's paying attention till halfway. At halfway, you're in the lead lap. I can't think who told me that years ago.
Then you get serious.
Yeah.
They start paying.
All of a sudden, they started checking, and if the old 43 was in the lead lap at halfway, it was time to pack the toolbox and go home.
Sometimes it was. Sometimes it wasn't.
Talk about the Michael Waltrip car. He is running 15th on the field, and he's shown as 2 laps down. Shepherd finished 2nd in this race in 87, while behind the wheel of a Stacy car. Make that one better. Lights are on around the racetrack now. How do you like those lights?
They're not caution lights. These are lights to make it. Okay.
I mean the night lights.
Yeah, okay. The night lights are on. Okay. Yeah, well, if they go ahead and turn them on now, as the sun goes down and starts getting darker, you don't really notice it as much. But if they wait till it gets twilight and then turn them on, hey, man, that's a big change all at one time.
How do you feel about racing under the lights in Winston Cup racing?
Well, that's great. You know, I mean, I don't know that Winston Cup's ready to run them ever night under the lights, but I think it's really good to break up things. Here especially, a big racetrack, even a little racetrack. Saturday night specials is really good. They always have them, and that's the backbone of the sport.
Jeff Gordon stays in that 4th spot. He's got Morgan Shepherd chasing around after him, and right in front of him is Jeff Bodine. It's a whale of a battle. We're midway in it in the Coca-Cola 600 35th annual from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. With Richard Petty, I'm Ken Squire, and from the Rebestos aerial platform, here's how they're running those 24-degree high banks.
They are preparing a new nose for that car. When he ran into the back end of Mark Martin, he pushed it in. The real problem is not aerodynamics, as you might think. What's happened is the car is beginning to heat up. Just about every crew member, including Andy Petrie and Richard Childress, are gathered round here trying to get this thing ready for Earnhardt.
Unscheduled stop for Darrell Waltrip on lap 210. He's in the pits. He was running slowly for a lap. Randy Pemberton can tell us more.
Well, all of a sudden, Darrell came over the radio and said we don't have any fuel pressure. So they either lost a fuel pump or they have a pickup problem in the fuel cell. He also radioed and said, go and run and get a fuel cell from one of the guys that is already out of the race. You see them back underneath the rear deck lid of the car. They're checking the fuel system. It's either a pump or a pickup problem. There he goes. He's leaving and heading back on the track. I'll try and get a further update.
Running 14th when he came in.
Well, gentlemen, there's also a tire story developing here. We've seen a couple of cars completely lose the tread of their racing tires. What I'm holding is the piece of tire that Sterling Marlin ran over 30 or 40 laps ago. This is the same thing that happened to Mark Martin. This is a brand new outside tread of a brand new racing tire. You can still see the mold marks and the depth marks in this tire tread. Marlin ran over it, caused some damage. We saw one of these come off Mark Martin's car. That's what caused that big pileup in turn 3. No indication as to whether this is a Goodyear or a Hoosier, but it is an indication that maybe these tires aren't up to the heat and the speed tonight here at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
And the speed's ready to climb. Sun is setting and the temperature dropping and the speeds are going to go up. We're averaging 133 miles an hour, well below the average of 145 a year ago when Earnhardt set the new 600 record. We've had 6 cautions. 30 of the laps run thus far, 214, have been under a yellow flag.
There we go for a lead change there.
Going up front, and here you see the battle. Ford against Ford, Goodyear against Goodyear. Wallace and Urban at it. Six leaders, 8 lead changes thus far. Caution for that big crash moments ago. Incidentally, Chad Little injured yesterday in that crash in the main straightaway. Talked to him in the hospital this morning. Has a broken right leg, has a broken shoulder. Had his bell rung, hopes to be back in 3 to 4 weeks. Tough guy out of the state of Washington. Chad Little had a really bad wreck going into turn number 1 on a start. Just got crammed up into the wall, and she'll change that number 23. They're looking at a couple of drivers to take over and take Chad's car out in Grand National competition over the next 2 or 3 shows. Here's Rusty Wallace still in first with Ernie Irvan trying to chase him down. The 1990 winner staying right there in first place. Incidentally, Greg Sachs is back in the race after an 11-minute repair job. Remember, that was the white number 77 that sort of got bounced around cue ball style out there in turn 4 in that wreck. Ernie Irvan ready to challenge, coming down on the inside. Coming to lap 218.
There you go.
Bounce and shuffle, and Ernie Irvan goes back into the lead another time. How much strategy plays into this race, Ernie?
Well, it's a little bit of strategy because of the weather change. Going to be going from say evening to night, and that changes the chassis, and being able to follow up on that car all day long, knowing how to communicate back and forth, making that car good at the end of the race, not at the beginning, and that's what we're going to have to work on. That's the strategy we'll have to work towards is working towards the last 100 miles and not the first 200 or 300.
Darrell Waltrip coming back out. They've worked on those fuel lines, and back out he comes again to try to keep scoring points. He had a great night in the Winston Select back on Saturday a week. I really thought he was going to have a good day, but it wasn't to work out for him. That's how close it is after 300 plus miles further back. There you see the Earnhardt car, number 3. He's having trouble with Joe Nemechek. Nemechek giving him all he can handle right now. These cars are 6 5/10 back from the leader. And you see Jarrett in there. Jarrett is 7th. Now here comes Earnhardt back on the inside. Gant is in that group, and remember, he's in the lead lap. They actually are going to put a black flag on him about 100 laps ago. There was some smoke pouring out of the car. Thank goodness they didn't. Here he comes. He's up there under Dale Jarrett, and you have Earnhardt to 7th, Gant to 8th, Dale Jarrett falls to 9th. Nemechek's about to get it. Nemechek has it. So all of a sudden, Dale Jarrett backs up in that group. And after one lap, number 17, Waltrip goes back to the garage area again. And gets right over by the Unocal fueling station. Didn't go to the garage, pulled right over there, and they're going to work another time. Randy's there.
Well, they have found it. It is the fuel cell. They've got a pickup problem. They went to Steve Grissom's team, and they asked them if they could have a fuel cell. Matter of fact, it is coming in now on the back side of the car, over near the deck.
Off for 4.
There is Labonte's car, and Gant in trouble. As also with Gant right side torn up, Terry Labonte badly torn up. Derek Cope spins back into the car, into the straightaway, and everybody's just getting by. The 98 car of Cope spun across the grass and ended up right on the start-finish line, aimed the wrong way.
Give me another replay on that.
7th caution, lap 223. Now that's unfortunate for Labonte.
Terry just got caught up in that one, I think.
Best finish in this race was 3rd way back in 1980. He was running 15th when it all came untied. He's the replacement for Ricky Rudd in that Hendrick stable. And that's too bad. There's Cope back underway with the Fingerhut car. Take a look at number 5.
Ain't got much going there.
Fun.
Kellogg's cornflakes, guys. he just looked forward to in the morning.
That's how you get Rice Krispies, snap, crackle, and pop out there. On
They got net.
Take a look at what happened. 5 gets loose.
Okay. Yeah, he lost the deal. Yeah, what happened there, I don't know. Just took off. There wasn't nobody close enough. It just took off. But it's real rough there. I understand that.
Now that's what, 170 miles an hour. Gant made a good move. He almost missed the bullet.
Almost got it all under there. Yeah, kept it right down.
Come up on the
also slowed the car way down too. Yeah, he just come out of there. Caught him in the right front. Okay, Derek just spun to try to miss everything.
There's the 33 in. Earnhardt back in another time. Dick Berggren is there.
They're going to work on the nose of this car, Ken Squire, to try to get it to cool off some. They're not going to replace the whole nose, but they're going to put a piece on the bottom. They just added a little piece of fiberglass on the bottom of this nose to try to get the air working through the radiator a little bit better, try to improve the aerodynamics of it. Definitely an aerodynamic racetrack. You do not want to have your aerodynamics messed up. Right now they're drilling away, and they're going to put aluminum rivets in there to try to hold this piece down and get Earnhardt's nose squared away.
Yeah, that piece they're putting on there is not to make the car run cooler. That there is to keep the front end on the ground because the air gets all up under the car, and then the car raises when it gets to the corner and he can't turn the car.
We'll take a break right now and then be back with more. The Coca-Cola 600 Winston Cup Stock Car Racing on TBS today. Harry Gant coming back out after repairs. Stay with us. Day here at Charlotte. It's not been good for him thus far, and you see the 5-car coming in Labonte. That's all beaten up. Let's go down to Kenny Wallace.
Okay, guys, we're down here in the garage area. For everybody that can't see all these wrecks that are happening, the garage is filling up, but this is how everybody's finding out what's going on down here in the garage area. The Family Channel Holler has got 2 TV monitors. You can see me on there right now. This is what's happening down here. It's getting pretty busy, and this is how everybody is keeping tabs on the racetrack. Dick Berggren, next, over to you.
Well, Ernie Irvin came in, and they are just about touching these cars now, Kenny Wallace. He just took a little tape off the nose of the thing, and Rusty Wallace's car, they took a little bit of wedge out of it, but most of the guys running up front seem happy with their cars. Randy?
Well, Joe Nemechek came in. They took on 4 tires, likewise for Jeff Bodine in the 7 car. Kyle Petty messing with his toe in. Of course, he was involved in the wreck 2 cautions ago. Johnny Andretti, that team, unbelievable. I just talked to them. They're on their 17th pit stop of the day. You remember they caused the very first caution of the day. They've worked on that car all day with cosmetic work. Dale Jarrett made a big adjustment. They moved the track bar, the rear of the car. That's a major adjustment. Richard Petty could probably comment more on that. And Kenny Schrader was also in, checked the toe in on that car. But the Dale Jarrett car, major adjustment there.
Go to the STP Pit Center.
Well, while we watch these cars circulate under caution, we want to remind you that this is your opportunity to pick up a copy of the official directory for NASCAR and the Winston Cup Series. It's from Bell South Advertising. We've got a copy here. We've been checking it out here in the pit center tonight. Easy to get. $24.95 is the cost plus shipping and handling, and you can dial this number, 1-800-RACE-345. This will give you all the information if you've never been to a new Winston Cup track, a place you're visiting for the first time this year. Get a directory. It'll give you directions on how to get there, where to stay, where to eat, entertainment places you can enjoy as you enjoy the 1994 Winston Cup season. We had problems back in March when we came to you from Richmond because we were flooded with orders. Well, now we've got many more operators ready to take your orders at 1-800-RACE-345, the official directory of NASCAR and the Winston Cup Series from Bell South. And gentlemen, a lot of these drivers need a directory, get their cars put back together and get back on the racetrack tonight.
Well, for distance today, Andretti gets first place. He has already driven 840 miles. We're making a big deal out of Rusty Wallace leading this. He's only gone, 342, Richard. And that Andretti, he's back to 30th spot.
Right, he's still gaining them. He's still got some more laps, more miles to put in. He has really put it in, that's for sure.
So, pit stops have been the order of the day. It's changed things a bit up on the wall with Wallace, Irvin, Bodine, Gordon, the first 4, Morgan Shepherd 5th. Ricky Rudd, he came in for a moment. That put Nemechek to 6, moved Dale Jarrett to 7th, Harry Gant back to 8th. Gant is staying out there after that incident. Earnhardt 9th, and then Rudd. And let's go to Dick Berggren.
Well, big squabble down here in Earnhardt's pit. NASCAR is concerned about the aerodynamic changes they're making to the nose of the car and asked him to bring it more into line with the way the car was before the accident. They're down here with a pair of tin snips now on the fiberglass, cutting away a little bit off the bottom to try to do that. I mean, it's not like you've got a situation where you can exactly and carefully measure it, but we do have a NASCAR official standing here with a tape measure, and he measured it, I'll guarantee you.
I don't think it'll fit the template, no matter what.
We're not worried about the template, I don't think.
Saw Richard Children out there with gaffer's tape trying to hold that thing together. So the word is out, taking advantage of the beaten up front end to try to fix the aerodynamics a little better.
You know, the first half, or first three good quarter of the race, no cautions, no wrecks, no nothing. And now we've got about half the field running around there with tape all over them and wire and everything fixed up, you know.
Richard Petty, did you ever be in one of those races where you really got the snout hit and then it ran better?
Yeah, I've run a lot of race cars, and you wind up getting in a wreck, and I don't know that the car runs better, or it just makes you so mad you make it run better. I think sometimes that you just get so frustrated, you say, the heck with what it looks like, how it's doing, you just go do the job. So, yeah, we've run better after we got wrecked.
Listen to this, Richard. Laps 1 through 90, no yellows. Laps 91 through 229, 7.
That's what I was telling you, you know. But the deal is about everybody's got hit somewhere. You know, I noticed our car kept coming in and stuff. He's been in about 14 times putting on tape trying to keep the hood down and the fenders from blocking.
Darrell Waltrip coming back on the track in car number 17. He's back out another time as they get in the field, lined up to go racing at lap 229, 230 as they come to the flag. 230 as they take the flag. 345 miles are down. Wallace first, Urban second, and Bodine is right there third. Jeff Gordon back and forth.
Still got 10 cars in the same lane. Oh, there we go. Oof.
About to overlap Waltrip coming off that corner. He ducks down to the inside to give them plenty of room, and he comes down into the pit road. Waltrip's back on pit road after another single lap. That's the second time that he's done that. Not working right, gets about the race.
Like you notice that pass, the 28 had the 2 outflanked and passed him, and here they do. The 2 car had the 28 outflanked, and there he's back up there again with him now. And there's the 7 car sitting there watching.
Ford's first, second, third. Those cars look so rock solid when you see them come off Ford. Then you look at those in-car cameras and you wonder how they hold on to them.
Running back out, and then 2 cars coming back on it. They up there using their tires up, and the 7 car sitting there saving his tires.
Wallace fades back a bit for a moment, now makes another run off Ford. And Jeff Gordon definitely closing that Chevy in from 4th position. Still side by side for first. Jeff Bodine back there in third says if you try to save your equipment at Charlotte, you're going to go backwards.
Basically, we'll probably be racing flat out about that time of the race with someone, because everyone wants to run up front. And if you're going a little slow, if you're trying to conserve, they're going to try to pass you.
And the guy making the pass right now is Morgan Shepherd. Last 5 laps, 5 lead changes down through here. Look at Shepherd come on now. Talked about Morgan's fortunes on this racetrack. Not particularly a great story for him, but he certainly would like to rewrite it for today. And the Wood brothers.
The Wood brothers had a lot of success here. Kyle won a race here, a 600-mile race for the Wood brothers. And you know, Pearson's won a bunch of races here. Yarborough, you know, they've had some good cars here.
It's been 36 races since Morgan Shepherd has won. Here he goes for the lead right now. The car 21, his last win at Atlanta. I think his favorite track.
There he goes. So you got Nemechek, and he's right back up there with him again. Here comes Earnhardt.
Let me correct that. as you see Shepard comes up, that places him third. Still Wallace and Bodine to deal with, Richard. Still Wallace first, Bodine and Morgan Shepard right there in third. 4 600 wins for the Wood brothers over the years. Love to make it 5 on the efforts of Morgan Shepard today. At 2:37, here's Wallace first, Bodine 10 car lengths back in second, about 8 to Morgan Shepard. Then a tight battle between Earnhardt and Urban. To Kenny Wallace.
Earnhardt keeps running like that, they're going to come in and check him again.
To Kenny Wallace.
Okay, guys, I got Jeff Andretti here who made history. John, you had a tough day. What happened?
I don't know, Rusty. It was, you know, we were just struggling along, and you know, we just didn't get the handle in the car as close, you know, we like, but, you know, that's not here or there. We just wanted to keep lasting. We thought we might outlast them, but unfortunately broke the crankshaft.
Well, you've done a great job at Indianapolis, finishing 10th. How was your trip down here?
Oh, it was great. Flew in a Challenger, and those are always nice, and got to be helicoptered in, so I didn't have to be here so early. I got the...
Okay, well, guys, he got me back. I called him Jeff, and he called me Rusty. You made history, man. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Back up to y'all.
I thought he liked it. I thought he wanted to be Rusty.
Whatever, right?
John Andretti is some kind of racer. Again, he's one of those versatile ones. Tries everything. Before it's done,
Yeah,
Billy Hagan, he'll get him some good finishes.
Like he said, as long as they had wheels on it, they might even go for both.
Both trailer races. Look at Nemechek. He hasn't given up for a moment all day. Joe Nemechek up to 6, challenging Gordon again, fighting with Irvin. There's his mom. All right, George, you get out there and do it.
She'll stay right with him, too.
Yeah, right. Joe Nemechek in the 41. Having to go right now with Ernie Irvin. Great race.
There goes Morgan.
Oh, how about this one? For second spot, Morgan Shepard on the outside, and Jeff Bodine with him in the 7 car.
While they're racing, Earnhardt's catching both of them.
Yep. Shepard gets the spot. 1 to go for Morgan Shepard for the lead. Earnhardt has made up a lap as he did a year ago. Will Dale Earnhardt become the first man to win the 600 3 times in a row? Neil Bonnet, 1-2. Waltrip did it a couple of times. Here comes Earnhardt tightening it up between 21 and 7, the leaders, and himself. 242 laps complete. There's the story in the 600. It's Ford's first, second, and third. Will it stay that way? We'll see. Story is right here. Earnhardt, they popped the cork on that one, and he has moved all the way to second, fallen to third. There's the battle. Morgan Shepard in second for a moment, then back comes Earnhardt. Incidentally, Mark Martin is back in the race after a 38-minute repair job out there trying to score some points. Look at this contest between a Chevy and a Ford. Earnhardt Chevy hugging the inside. Shepard alongside, right behind him, the 24 of 22-year-old Jeff Gordon.
Jeff's got a good looking at what's going on up there. You can bet on that.
Again, Wallace out in front of this crowd by about 25, 30 car lengths. It says 1 and 9/10 seconds between first and the second place war. Further back, you see the 43, Dallenbach, still out there going with car number 20, LaJoy. They're back in 20th, 21st position.
Yeah, they've been having a heck of a race back there.
Around Jeff Burton they come. Jeff Burton in 13th position, the 8 car that we just saw lapped.
Yeah, he's been having some kind of trouble. He slowed way down.
Well, you don't want to leave this one, do you, Richard? Look at this.
Oh, he's going to... Wow. Earnhardt ain't giving no room, either.
There you see Mark Martin getting lapped. Take a look in the box, upper right at the pass that was made moments ago when Jeff Bodine. Oh, excuse me. We were going to get to that moment a moment ago when Jeff Gordon got loose a little further down here. 1 year ago, Dale Earnhardt took control of the Winston Cup season when he won this Coca-Cola 600. Dale is second this year, and he's not worried. Here's Rick.
I think that's as many laps as I've seen anybody run side by side down here. You know, used to you can do it, or most of the time you can do it maybe a couple of laps. But man, they've been going at it here.
A lot of people think that Dale Earnhardt is off to a slow start this year in his quest for another Winston Cup championship. Well, here's how it compares to last season when he won the title. After 10 races, 3 wins already and 8 top 10 finishes. Dale loves to race for the title, whether he's leading the pack or chasing everyone.
I like to lead the pack. You know, and I don't get to a lot, do some, but, you know, if you're running good and you're consistent, you can run up there with them, and that's, you know, good. But, heck, I take it anyway. I like to race. Racing them, chasing them. They chasing me, whatever.
Racing and chasing him, and they're chasing him right now. Earnhardt back into the lead, Richard.
They're racing and chasing, that's for sure. Earnhardt comes in, uses up the 21. Ooh, me. He uses up the 21 groove coming off the 4th turn. He's taking a whole racetrack, but he is really running hard.
That's the second place. Remember, Wallace in first. A better.
Jeff and Jeff, right?
Dick Berggren standing by with car owner. Got to keep the team running. Richard Childers for number 3.
And the question is, Richard, have you got the car adjusted that well, or is this a demonstration of your driver's ability?
Well, you know, we've all been working on the car. You know, it was heating a little bit after the wreck. Now we're picking up and pushing the car. You know, that's what's the matter with it. And you know, we was hoping we'd be right when the sun went down. Is what we were hoping for. And you know, now Dale's just driving his heart out like he does every week. And you know, all these guys busted themselves to get it back out there. So you know, we'll just see how it comes out.
A basic complete team effort again.
379 miles have been completed as Wallace has pulled away from that 2nd, 3rd, 4th place battle. As they continue to slug it out there, it was an advantage for Wallace. It's now better than 3 seconds, 3 3/10 as they continue to duke it out back there in 2nd spot. He just drove off into the darkness. But now Earnhardt's away.
Drive off into the sunset.
Well,
okay.
Under the lights. Drove off under the lights, Richard.
From the sunset into the lights. Okay, that sounds right. Are they still racing?
No sunset yet.
There's 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th place cars all within, 20 yards of each other.
Earnhardt, Shepard, Gordon, Bodine, Nemechek all in there. And here comes Morgan right back again. Won't take no for an answer. Won't take 3rd place for an answer either.
Right. They're going for it. Yeah, Rusty's leading the race and nobody's paying attention to him.
Richard, I'd really like the folks to see that moment when Earnhardt got under Bodine here. So we'll take a look in replay, even though we got a great race. Take a look at this. This was about 6 laps ago. We were in commercial.
Just moved just enough. Now he's trying to gather it up. There comes Jeff Gordon under him also. He was lucky to gather it up. That doesn't look like much, believe me. You see that thing move a little. But once it breaks loose, you have a heck of a time getting that thing glued back down so that it'll go straight.
Back with you live, and you're watching as Bodine works Gordon. This is for 4th. And here comes Gordon right back, not willing to give an inch. Gordon on the outside, Bodine.
There's Nemechek watching them race.
Yes, and Ernie Irvin's right there, too, with a catbird seat to view it from. Stay with us. 257 laps are now complete in the Coca-Cola 600, 385.5 miles. 4 and slid all the way down the track to land right at the start-finish line. He actually crossed it by about 2 feet and lies in the trademark of the sponsor of the race. That's one way to get their attention.
This is how Earnhardt got down a while ago. If you remember, he stopped, and just as he'd stopped and went back out, got a lap down. They had a caution. Everybody got a free stop. They're going to do the same thing to him right now.
And the point we were about to make and the story we were following was that once again, Dale Earnhardt has been thwarted here. He got all the way up, was trying to chase Rusty Wallace down, then made an unscheduled stop. Just as he came back out, he had gone a lap down. That was when Nemechek had this problem that put him into the grass. Take a look at what happened to Nemechek. He comes off that fourth turn, bang.
It took off.
Blew a tire is what he's saying on the radio.
And that's what it looked like, because he didn't come out and turn the car. He was out about 2/3 and it just went straight. In fact, you can see the marks from here. You can see where they hit the wall.
Running in 5th place when car 41 slapped the wall and slapped it hard. Now you see Earnhardt back on the track. He made that unscheduled stop. Like to get more on that story from Dick Berggren. Attention all drivers spinning through the... That's a Humpy Wheeler sign. And I'll tell you what, they're going to have to line up, Richard. Everybody's tried to mow Humpy's grass out here today.
They're going to have to get him a bunch of whoops.
Let's hope that Nemechek's all right. We see the safety folks out there working with him. He really slapped that wall. He's okay. All right, we'll take a quick commercial break and come back and get more on the Earnhardt story for you as Darrell Waltrip is again coming back out to give it another go. With this caution out for Joe Nemechek, everybody taking advantage and getting in the pits, getting new tires, taking on fuel. Let's go back to that stop by Dale Earnhardt and get more on the story from Dr. Dick Berggren.
Well, he had been running along just fine. Can we see this on replay? He had been running along just fine. Came in, took a pit stop. The problem was this tire right here. The tire obviously lost its tread, and that is the reason for this pit stop. Right rear tire is the one that failed while he was in here, while this action was going on. Rusty Wallace, the leader, passed him, putting Earnhardt a lap down. I think Earnhardt has made more pit stops at this point by far than any other driver out here. Now he's got a lap to make up. He hopes to win this race.
That pit stop was 19 and 3/10 but remember, there is that speed limit. What was the speed limit this morning, Richard? 55 miles. 55 miles an hour on pit road. And he went down a lap again. He's made it up once. Can he do it a second time today? And look at the front of that. That looks like a St. Nick's Arena fighter in the old days. 10-rounder. Was in good shape. Wallace first. Jeff Gordon now second. Ernie Irvan third. Morgan Shepherd fourth. Dale Jarrett is fifth. And Jeff Bodine is in sixth. Let's go to the STP pit center.
Well, Ken, we're joined by Ward Burton, driver of car number 31, the Hardee's Fried Chicken car. Ward, you were involved in that mix-up with Mark Martin when apparently a tire of his came apart earlier. What's going on out there at this point?
Well, it's kind of hard for me to tell from sitting in the cockpit, but it looks like they're having somewhat of a problem with the tire. But, you know, Hoosier and Goodyear both have good products, and some weekends one's better than the other. But I'd like to say something about my Hardee's crew. I think, you know, we've been struggling. I think they did a pretty good job for me today. We're running good, and we got a lap down the pits, and we know we need to practice there, but we're coming.
You ran good. You were running up, I believe, in the top 15 when that mix-up took place. You were in good shape for a good finish, hopefully, today. Of all the cars you see out here at this point, you've got some Goodyear cars, some Hoosier cars running up front. Who do you think's the strongest at this point?
Well, of course, the 3 car, if he gets his lap back, which I'm sure he will up there, he's going to be a threat. All these cars right in here are threat 28-2. Jeff Gordon. Some of these lap cars are running real good, too. You know, it's easy for one of them to get a lap back. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's possible they could. We can't cut anybody out. A bunch of good cars there.
Earnhardt's on the tail end of the lead lap. Thank you, Ward Burton.
Thank you.
Yeah, they put him right on the tail end. They put him up on the top side. That's kind of a surprise, Richard.
What?
On Earnhardt, the number 3.
Well, see, he's not a lap down right now because he likes that much being a lap. So he has the prerogative to get up there, and you know he's going to take every chance he can.
We had him a lap because
he was to let
Rusty had gotten through.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's the tail end of the lead lap right now.
So he dodges another bullet.
All right, so far he has. Anyway, they have a quick caution or something, and he makes his lap up.
Look at Irvan right up the middle as he splits them and moves beneath the Jeff Gordon car. Irvan flying up through the field now, and he's ready to challenge Rusty Wallace for the lead. Earnhardt is not your leader. He's the tail end of the lead lap. The number 30 car is not in the lead lap. Yeah, he's 1 lap down, running in 12th position right now. Here's Jeff Gordon. Well, they've got him here as You're right. 2 laps down. 2 laps down. You were right.
I wasn't going to say nothing.
Well,
okay.
no, I saw it right there. And I said, my George, there's the other lap.
Now, he won't be but 1 lap down if he can get in front of the 2 cars.
That's
okay?
right. Yeah.
All right. That's
I
what
agree
you're
with you about that.
Okay, buddy.
So Rusty stays first. Here's Urban trying to chase him again. It's Ford's first and second. Dale Jarrett right into it in the 18, but Morgan Shepherd up on the outside. Back with Jeff Gordon in 5th spot. You missed it?
Not so bad.
You didn't like get out there and go wheel. I thought that was your favorite thing.
No, the deal was I'd be right out there with him. I draw up from here, and the deal is when you're out there and you're running, you can't see except what's right in front of you or what's beside it. Here you can just see everything.
Yeah.
And that's too much. You know what I mean?
There's Derek
putting blinders on you when you're out there.
Scary if you saw it from this vantage
that's
point,
right. All of them come in if they seen themselves from this angle. You know?
Derek Cope's 98 is right in the middle of this too, but he's down several laps. 22nd position. Front of the field's completed 269. He's at 264. So Wallace stays first, Urban second, Shepherd third, Jeff Gordon is in 4th now, Jarrett back to 5th, Bodine is 6th, Ricky Rudd in 7th, Gant in 8th. Those are all in the lead lap. And in the top 10 now, it's Chuck Bound. Chuck Bound in the Bobby Allison car and Earnhardt. Earnhardt on the added car. Make Earnhardt the 9th car in that lead lap. And then go back to 10th place and give that position to Chuck Bound. Take a look at the Fram race story out here on what we've seen thus far as we review, if you're just joining us, some of the leaders that have had an opportunity to be out in front. Brett Bodine, he's crashed out of the race. Jeff Bodine still out there. Jeff has really had a good run, and he stays in 4th at the present time. Goodyear is running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The first Hoosier is the Bodine car back in 6th for the moment. The 21 car of Morgan Shepherd up on the outside going around Derek Cope, and with him comes Jeff Gordon, 4th place car. 18 car, 5th. There's the Fram race story for you, so you got an idea about who's been leading and where the cautions were thus far in the race. Look at Gordon closing in on Morgan Shepherd for 3rd spot. Jeff Bodine at work back in the 6th position with car number 7, his own Ford, the old Alan Kowicki team. The Lakeside cars really had a good run today. Get the feeling, a little bit of the feeling of those lamps around the track. Watch now on those in-car cameras.
You get some reflections, get some different angles, different colors and things that come on. But if we get back to Gordon here, Bodine, he's the only Hoosier car left now in the first 10. They've done eliminated to 41 and 8, and all the boys that was running good, they've had problems, and he's the only one left really.
And Earnhardt's about to have a problem.
Yeah, he's just going a lap down. Here comes the 28 car.
Oh, not for long. Oh, what happened to Wallace? He faded way up the racetrack. Looks like had the air taken off that deck that time, and he did a great save. Darrell Waltram's been out, made another lap or 2, and gone back in another time. Boy, that looks scary for Rusty Wallace. That car shot up the track 2 or 3 lanes. He gathered it back up and stays on it.
Okay, Earnhardt in the meantime went back in front. Now he's still in the same lap with him.
Take a look at this. Think he pulled the air off him right about here?
No, he's seen him right there. Get out of the way. That's
whoa. So you have Ernie Irvin back to the lead, Wallace to 2nd, and again Earnhardt has made up his lap. He just keeps digging. 276 laps are down. So we're at 414 miles. 9 cars in the lead lap. Up to 10th now has gone Todd Bodine in number 75, and Chuck Bound falls to 11th. Then 2 laps back in 12th, as Richard pointed out, is Michael Waltrip. Okay. And with him there is Sterling Martin. Dale Jarrett swings around Morgan Shepherd, takes fourth. Shepherd falls to fifth. Really don't dare go away from this one here.
The 2-car back again.
Yep.
The 28 went in there and he went high.
Wallace to lead another time. That's the 16th official lead change. The only official lead changes are counted at the start-finish line. They've been swapping it around a lot more than that. Some of these laps back and forth, but that's an official lead change after stripes. So Wallace takes command. The 1990 winner is in front another time. Rusty's led 103 laps today. Bodine's led 97. Ernie's had a crack at it a few times. See Rusty Wallace's crew looking on. We're at lap 279. Take a look a little further back at Ricky Rudd in the Tide car, and that is Todd Bodine, who is a lap down alongside in number 75.
Ricky's running 7th right now.
Yeah. And there you see the Chuck Bound car, Bobby Allison car, number 12. They got some pretty good news. They may get a full sponsor. That car's been running.
Yeah, he's 1 lap down.
Yep. And they say that Teletron, a company out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, is going to join the Winston Cup ranks and support the Bobby Allison Chuck Bound effort.
75 and a 12-car racing for position. They happened to get lapped here.
.280 complete. Ricky Rudd hard at it out here. Jeff Bodine stays up in that 6th position, and we'll have more of the 600 in a moment.
We realize there's
caught him twice. Earnhardt trying to have no part of it. Then back in 2nd spot, it is Jeff Gordon. That's followed by Ernie Irvan and Dale Jarrett. Let's go down to the pit area and talk about the man who started outside of the front row today. Kenny Wallace?
Yeah, I got Joe Nemechek. Joe, you've been awesome for 2 weeks here. You set a new track record, and the car was flying. Just being patient, what happened?
I'm not real sure, but I think we ended up breaking a right front rotor. It shook real bad, and then all of a sudden it just turned and went straight in the wall. Tough break for the Meineke Chevrolet. We were finally hooked up. We got a good break. Guys at the motor shop did an excellent job on the engine. Excellent race car. This isn't where we were supposed to meet, but I'm all right. All the bones are good. We'll be ready for them at Dover.
Well, one thing's for sure. You've had a tough year, but if you haven't proved yourself these last 2 weeks at Charlotte, you never will, right?
That's right. You know, just everything's coming together. It takes time, but Charlotte's a place I like. You know, we had a good Busch car yesterday. We broke a motor. I thought we had a chance of winning in this race, so we'll be ready for them next week.
Okay, back to you guys.
Larry and Sue Hedrick, the owners of that car, heart and soul in it, and giving it their best shot, along with Joe Nemechek. Well, look at Wallace still trying to deal with Earnhardt and try to contain him and get him a lap down. Here comes Ernie Irvan working again on Jeff Gordon, and he's going to get him this time around for 2nd spot. They continue to dice and slice this race up every which way, don't they,
They
Richard?
have really been racing now. Nobody can go home and say they didn't see a bunch of racing going on. Now they have really tried. There you got 5 cars right up there, and they all run the same speed. It's just who makes the slip and who doesn't, or who has the right tire combination that particular pit stop.
And Dale Jarrett's on the move again. He's coming back. He's getting under Ernie Irvan. There's Dale Jarrett right there beneath Ernie Irvan and switching that 3rd and 4th spot around. Here's Randy.
Former Washington Redskins football coach, Super Bowl winner Joe Gibbs owns this team, but this is the quarterback, Jimmy Makar. Jimmy, we saw you make an adjustment before, maybe possibly on the track bar. Has that helped you here?
Well, actually, it really didn't help as much as we thought it might. Just a little bit. The car's been real tight all day long. We've been trying to work it out. We made another adjustment after that, took a couple more rounds of wedge out of it, and it seems to be a little bit better, but we're still not quite like we want to be. And I think if we can ever get it there, he can have a shot at this thing, but I don't know if we'll get there or not. He may have to do it on his own, but we're real happy the way the car's running right now. He's doing a great job. We're where we want to be, right at the front of the pack, and just have to wait and see what happens.
Sorry, buddy.
Jimmy Makar, brother-in-law, the man in that 18 car. They've only had 2 top 10 finishes this year. 4th at Darlington. They had a 10th at Richmond. On board with Jeff Gordon as he's watching this slugfest here. Unbelievable racing.
It is. This is Saturday night racing without running into each other. Hopefully they can continue.
Well, they've had a little running in too.
Yeah, well, right now that's really racing. This is what it's all about.
And you see what's happened here. Rusty Wallace has accomplished what he set out to do. He's put the cap back on the bottle of car number 3. Put him a lap down. Would like to keep him there. Want to bet that he can?
Yeah, he got him now. Yeah, he's got him.
And the 3's fading again. You're dead on. Jeff Gordon getting up there beneath him. Jimmy Spencer down at the bottom just in front of him in the McDonald's car. He's not been a factor today. Dale Jarrett, been 16 months since you visited Victory Lane and about forgotten what it felt like, we understand.
Yeah, we've about forgot about that. We've used it up pretty much here. So, yes, time for another win. This would be a good place to get us started. You know, I like the racetrack. We've run well here. And 600 miles, I think it suits us because we tend to get better as the race goes on. That's the way it's been in the past. It hasn't been this year. So we're looking to get back to that. And we need a good run.
Good run they're getting. Jarrett staying right up here with the pack in 3rd spot. Urban back and forth. Shepard is 5th. Jeff Bodine 6th. Ricky Rudd is 7th. And Harry Gant lies 8th. And Harry is still in that lead lap.
He's not running. He's been running there all day long. Just idling along. Got close to that wreck there and been his fender and stuff a while ago, but he's still digging.
Joe Gibbs looking on. He wants to send in the defensive unit right now.
Well, right now he's still kind of calm. It's, you know, they still got a long way to go here. We still got over 100 laps to go, so he's not worried about it yet.
294 are on the board as we begin to look toward the conclusion of this one. I don't know how they can do anything in the last 100 miles to trump what we've seen thus far, Richard.
Last 100 laps, I know what you mean.
Well, they sailed pretty well in the beginning. Then we had all the incidents for the wreck fans, and then they got rid of that. Now we're back to some really great racing.
Really great. This is a lot better racing than they did to begin with. I don't know where the cool air and stuff is making the cars work better, handle better, or whatever. Everything seems to be working good, you know.
Wallace seems to be working the best at the present time. Gordon in 2nd, Jarrett 3rd, and you saw Ernie Irvin right there. He's also put a lap on Earnhardt. This next pit stop will be pretty interesting out here. Car number 43 is pitting right now. Wally Dallenbach pulling down on pit road in the Petty STP Enterprises car.
Got some black marks on the side of that thing, a bunch of tape on the hood of it. I think this is just a routine pit stop. I think they're just doing it for tires because last 4 or 5 laps he's really slowed down. So they'll put the tires on, speed him back up a little bit.
19th positions where he was running. I didn't think you could run a Petty car unless you had tire marks on the side of it. I thought that was...
Don't be talking like that. What do you mean?
Yeah,
it really always helped, right? It kind of speeded me up.
It did?
Yeah, but I had a new car. I tried to be real careful. Once I got black marks on it, I didn't care.
Okay, so the 19th place car, Wally Dallenbach, is back on the track. Coming down to 300 laps complete. In 3 will be 450 miles into this thing. Looking down on the last 100. Leadership, first time Jeff Gordon has led since the very first lap in the race. Take a look at how he did it. Rusty Wallace in first at Ford, and here comes that Chevy down to the bottom. Sticks and takes home that front position for a lap or 2. There you see Jarrett right there in third as they're following it live down into turn 1.
They're trying to get back by him right now.
Wallace working the bottom, and he's got it.
Yeah, now he worked down there that time.
See Kyle Petty's car back out there with the nose all bruised. Jeff Gordon waving as he came by. What was that about?
He was waving to Dale Jarrett right there. Jarrett's running 3rd right now, so he was watching out for him.
There you see Kyle Petty's number 42 back on the track.
Jarrett's got by him. Jarrett's up to 2nd place now.
So Jarrett wants to go see what he can do with Rusty Wallace here. About 6 car lengths to catch him. Let's take a look further back here in the field. I'll tell you, driver's having a great day is Loy Allen. Hooters car's running 13th. That's the best run he's had in Winston Cup racing. Remember, he came out and sat on the pole at Daytona, started 37th here today, and Loy Allen right now continues in the 13th position. Hooters T-Bird. He was the first choice, of course, to take over for Alan Kowicki. There was a big flap about that.
Earnhardt down pit road again.
Here's Earnhardt back. Yes, indeed. Car number 3 is in. And that could be really bad news. Let's see what they're going to do down here as they bring in the Goodwrench Chevrolet. Out there for tires. Dick Berggren is there.
Well, absolutely everything has gone wrong today. Earnhardt's taken more tires. The ones they're taking off do not appear to be blistered, but this is decidedly an unscheduled stop. Rusty Wallace has just blown by again, and that means Earnhardt is back down a lap again. Well, another 4-tire change for Earnhardt. 19.1, but he lost a lap, and that's the critical part of this thing.
Okay. They're still making adjustments on the chassis. You can see them there working on the right rear. So now he's 2 laps down, yeah. And, I don't know where he's going to go now, because this is a whole different perspective from where he's got to come from.
Yeah, 305 laps into this race. That's a long way to come for him. He's getting back up to speed. Ted Musgrave's having a good race out here as well in car number 16. Started back in 42nd position. He's up to 15th, and he is 10th in points these days. Musgrave in 16. Drove that Jasper car a year ago for D.K. Ulrich. Makes the change, picks up the second Roush ride, and he's having a very good run. You see him in here right behind number 30. Michael Waltrip, who stays 11th at the present time. And they put a lap on Jeff Burton in number 8. Now take another gander at this one. There is the 7 car going up on the outside, and Darrell Waltrip. They seem to have got that car.
They got the gas working on that one again.
Yep. Yeah. So Jeff Bodine in 5th spot. He's the first car with Hoosiers in the top 5. 4 in front of them, all carrying the Goodyear tires. Looking back from Jeff Bodine's car as he comes off the bank, and you get a little sense of those lights which are mirrored on the inside of the racetrack.
Yeah, they get a lot of reflection around inside the car when they do that.
Those cars are about 4 seconds back to the leader as you look at it from the Revestas aerial platform. About 4 seconds back from Wallace Jarrett up there in the lead. The 17 car of Waltrip, we might catch you up on him. He's well back. He's only completed 244 laps. He's running in 32nd position. He was in a long time. He did a lot of the single laps, came back out front of the fields on 308. And there you see Chuck Bound back to the attack. Bound having a good race, staying 10th now. Just a lap down from the leaders.
Yeah, they just come in and change tires. That's all they did on him.
Back with Bodine. The Exide car in 5th. Stays right with it. Here's Randy.
Well, the weather may very well be playing a factor. The sun seems to have gone down. It has changed the complexion of this race somewhat. Jeff Bodine has been complaining that the car has been loose. 2 pit stops to go. It was, oh, there's a lead change right there. Rusty Wallace going back down.
So now Dale Jarrett gets a chance to command this thing. Waited a while for this opportunity.
Well, they were just talking to his chief mechanic, and they said they didn't have the car handling too good, and they were making some more adjustments. But right now, he's got the best adjustment car out there. They better not mess with it.
7th different leader today, Richard, is Dale Jarrett. Best 94 finish was that 4th down at Darlington. Still some distance to travel.
After they won Daytona, they had a couple of good years, good races, and then this year's been really bad for them.
For 3rd spot, Shepard around Gordon another time. Back and forth, they continue to swap positions. Riding with Jeff Gordon now as he looks at Morgan Shepard. Tries to counterattack. 311 of 400 laps complete in the Coca-Cola 600 from Charlotte. Speedway. A week ago Saturday night, they were on for the Winston Select. Had a great battle. Jeff Bodine came out on top. He continues to stay up in the top 8 tonight in that lead lap. He's running in 4th. But the man to talk about is Dale Jarrett. Another man to talk about is Rusty Wallace for the moment. 1st and 2nd. Dale Jarrett had a good finish here a year ago. Came home in 3rd spot. Back out in the lead now as the laps begin to dwindle.
Morgan's coming up on Wallace pretty fast right now.
There you see the 9 car, Rich Bickle, Melling car. Bill Elliott had the great success with that. Hope the days come back for those Melling folks soon. They've certainly given a lot to the sport.
Just follow that 21 car around. He's got him a different groove than anybody else has got.
Richard will pick up. Oh!
He really
did
got
have
a different groove now, yeah. He didn't blow the tire, cut a tire down going in the corner. But he'd been running high.
And that's where you used to run, where Gant used to run this racetrack.
Flat go when the track closed down and stuff. Did you see the right front down? Something happened to his right front tire. Where he cut it down or what?
So Morgan Shepherd running in third place, slaps the wall in turn number 1. That brings out another caution. This at lap 318 for Shepherd, showing 477 miles complete. Earnhardt was being shown in 11th spot, stood to lose 25 points to Urban, who was then running 6, but now attrition continuing to tell the story as Morgan Shepherd limps back onto pit road on car number 21.
It just took him a long time to get that groove worked in. He'd been working on it, and it's finally started coming to him. And he had some kind of trouble.
Ooh, brakes are gone. He slapped the wall. He broke the line, apparently.
Used up that right front altogether. Rerun of that.
We'll take another look at it, Richard. Yeah. Watching the 21 car come back after it got cuffed big time.
Sorry I said anything. I was going to watch him and he runs into the wall.
You certainly picked a fine time
Sorry
to watch
about
him.
that, yeah.
I think the folks at home appreciate it. Jarrett pitting, Wallace pitting, Gordon, everybody coming in, all the top of the field. This at lap 319. This will not get them home, will it?
Oh no. They can run about 60 laps. That's about what they run. Nobody's trying to cheat that right now. Later on we might try, but right now they're not looking at it.
Okay, we're watching as the 18 comes in. You're seeing the 2-car pit as well. Let's go to Randy.
Well, Rusty Wallace is in, keeping the idles up on his Ford Thunderbird. Billy Wilbur on the right side. Jack already dropped. This is the quickest pit crew in the business. Dale Jarrett's team down below. They're on the backside of pit road here. Dale Jarrett now on the left-hand side. Rusty Wallace's team down and away. Dale Jarrett down and away. Great pit stop for both organizations.
Give you some times on those. The 2-car first. The 2-car was a 16.7 and 18.9 on the Jarrett car. 18.9 on the Jarrett car. So we're under caution. It's lap 319, and it's getting towards show and tell time with Wallace in first, Jarrett in second. More to come from the Coca-Cola 600.
600. Lap 320 of 400 today. We're under caution at this point, and we want to thank everyone for being with us tonight. Certainly here at TBS Sports, lots of fans here helping us carry our banner. One of the awards we're going to give out before this program is over tonight, the Advance Auto Parts Pits Done Quickly Award. We're going to select one of the best pit stops of the night, and the folks at Advance Auto Parts are going to make a contribution on behalf of TBS Sports and the winning team to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of America. One of the nice gestures from the folks at Advance Auto Parts, and we'll take a look at the Pits Done Quickly Award a little bit later on. Someone's been hurt on pit road. Now, this is in the Ernie Irvan pits among the Robert Yates team. Someone has been knocked down, evidently, and they have taken the injured crewman up on the wall, and we're going to find out a little more about that in just a couple of moments as we see some of the crew making their way back through the garage area. We believe Dick Berggren is there to tell us more. Dick?
Well, the injured crewman is Jeff Clark. He's not badly hurt for sure. It appears to be some sort of an ankle injury. Apparently, when the 43 came in, he tangled with him. Jeff is the jack man here, and they are very concerned about his ankle. They are also concerned about what's going to happen when Ernie Irvan has to make the next pit stop, because this guy is an excellent jack man.
We see Brian Vandercook, who's the team's PR director, standing behind Jeff. Got to have a jackman who knows what he's doing on these teams, but these teams are so talented, I'm sure someone will be able to double up and jump into the fray. Teamwork is such a key, and if you lose a second or two, it can mean a lot of track position. So we'll hope for the best for the crew member on the Yates team. Larry McGrunnell's standing right there as well, looking at his car make its way around the track. We stay under caution here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, under the lights on a Memorial Day weekend.
Let's take a replay at that last moment here that changed the perspective of this race. Going down there, you see that already he stacked it into the wall and just kept it up there. Morgan Shepherd in the 21. That marked the, what, 7th, 8th, 9th? 9th caution, 9th caution thus far. How many laps? Something like 41 laps plus so far. That's a lot of laps under caution here. Average speed stays down at 135.2. No record tonight, Richard.
Not for that, and not for speed anyway.
No, that's right. You had the record here for years, until last year, from 1975.
Yeah,
Taking a look
if you
again.
run all day and don't have no cautions, you can make some good times.
43 cars started the event. Pace cars about to come in. Lap 323 when they hit the marker.
Cars off again. He just beat everybody out of the pit, and that put him back in front.
Jeff Wallace first, Jarrett second, Gordon third, Jeff Bodine fourth, Urban, Rudd, Gant back to seventh. 7 cars in the lead lap. Todd Bodine in 8th, Earnhardt in 9th, lap down. Earnhardt being shown 2 laps down in 9th. Michael Waltrip 10th. Loy Allen up to 11th. Musgrave 12th. Sterling Marlin 13th. And Chuck Bound now 14th. Sure begin to get the illusion of speed.
Yeah, under the lights, looks like it pick up about 10, 15 mile an hour. In fact, they do get quick. Not that much. We're right on the bottom right now because all of it's got good fresh tires and the track's good and cool. Earnhardt's trying to make up another lap.
Saw Sparks come off one of those cars, and I think it was Earnhardt. I think he bottomed out as he came off that 4th turn. So watch those leaders next time in there.
What they do, they set the cars up to run as low as they can, you know, because the cars handle better and run faster. And then as they put on new tires and the track gets cooler, they run a little bit faster, and when they go faster, then they move a little bit more than what they was really anticipating and start getting a spark.
And you can see how severe those bumps are at night, because you can see them spark off there. Saw those 2nd and 3rd place cars both getting right down on the asphalt. They're going to repave here, they say, shortly, trying to fix that. They've tried to fix that since, what, 73 or 4?
Since 69, when they built a racetrack. But they've repatched, and they've helped it in a lot of ways. But it's ready for a new one now.
Let's see if we can get anything more on that jackman, Jeff Clark. Dick Bergen?
Well, Jeff Clark is going to stay here and jack the car. He's walking, I should say he's limping around the pit area, but he's putting his uniform back on again. Wouldn't believe all the different people who have come here with different uniforms on from cars that have dropped out, volunteering to help. But Clark says, no, this is my team. I'm staying. I'm going to do it.
That's Shauna Robbins' fiance, Jeff Clark, that was injured down there on those pit stops. Mark Martin's car number 6 is being rolled back up pit road at this time. Take a look here as Earnhardt snuggles down to the bottom, tries to get a lap back. 3:28 complete.
Now see where Mark Martin's going behind the wall. He finally give up altogether.
Next time by, they'll have 493.5 miles in the rearview mirror on this Coca-Cola 600 at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. And what a contest we've seen. Here's Earnhardt with another thrust to make up a lap, and Wallace trying with everything he's got to keep him contained 2 down. Give him a lap, he'll find another. And look at Dale Jarrett. What a ride the Interstate Batteries Lumina is having tonight. Joe Gibbs and Jimmy Makar have got to be some happy about this. The 93 Daytona 500 champion staying right there within striking distance of car number 2, Rusty Wallace, the 1990 champion of this 600.
There goes Earnhardt.
What makes him so good?
Determination. You know, I mean, he's got all the talent in the world. You know what I mean? But there's a lot of people got talent. He just wants to do it so bad. No matter what the circumstances is, he's going to do it. There's just very few people in the world that's got that kind of determination and ability and all that stuff put into one person, and he's a total package, okay?
He's made up a lap. Now he's 1 down, plus almost a full lap. We'd like to caution right now, thank you, but it's not falling. So we'll be back with more of the 600 shortly here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Stay with us for all the action here on TBS.
Charlotte Motor Speedway on a Sunday night. The Coca-Cola 600 in the final stages tonight. About 60, 70 laps to go here, and it's getting down to quite a battle. We've got several cars running up front. It's been a dandy so far, and I'm sure the last 50 or 60 laps are going to be even more wonderful. Now, all season long, the United Auto Workers and General Motors team up to build great automobiles all across North America, and they've teamed up to get involved in racing. They're sponsoring the Teamwork of Excellence Award. We're going to select a winning team tonight. That team will get $5,000 for their great teamwork here in the Coca-Cola 600. There'll be points tallied all season long. At the end of the year, the winning team gets $50,000. Just another example of the teamwork exemplified by UAW and GM. We've got our own brand of teamwork here on TBS as we bring you our coverage of Winston Cup and Busch Grand National races. Darrell Waltrip had some advice for the newest member of our broadcast team earlier this weekend.
Yeah, Richard, you do all the talking. Don't let Ken say too much. You'll be a lot better off.
A man who certainly knows what to say and when to say it, Darrell Waltrip, and we want to welcome certainly Richard Petty, the newest member of our team.
Yeah, what a team player old DW is, huh?
Well, yeah, he's a lot of help, right? I used to race with him, so I know where he's coming from, what he's acting for, you know?
Okay, we're down to 100 miles to go in this thing. Time to get down with the program and get this resolved. What's going to make the difference in this last 100? You still got 7 cars in that lead lap. Really good candidates. Wallace, Bodine is up there. Jarrett is up there. Jeff Gordon hasn't given up much tonight at all. He's fallen back to 4th for the moment. You get the feeling he's going to come back. Bernie Urban, Ricky Rudd, and Harry Gant is still there in that lead lap.
Yeah, Harry's still digging. They can't take anything away from him. Really what this is going to come down to right now is the laps and stuff that we've got left, if it's a green flag stop or not. If it's a green flag stop, then Wallace has got the better of the pit crews, then it's going to be tough to beat him. But if they comes and goes ahead and runs and they happen to have a caution where they can run the last part of the race under green, then Jared Bodine might can come on in.
Well, okay, we're now at lap, 329, 339? 339. So as the picture gets drawn here, you see Earnhardt again fighting his way back up still again to take that lap back. He is sure tenacious. He's exactly what you said, Richard. Determined.
And he's determined. I mean, he's out there and he runs that car, and if he's 10 laps behind or 100 laps behind, he's out there to do a job. That's to do the best he can with the equipment he's got. But he enjoys doing it. That's the difference in him and a lot of these other drivers, is that they've got everything going for them and they can do the job, but they're looking at the monetary deal, or they're looking for whatever. You know, Earnhardt's just going to go do it, and he says, if I do it good enough, I'll make money. And that's the way he looks at it.
How many laps did you ever come back from? Wasn't it 13 or 14?
12 or 14 laps when I was running 500 lap race in Nashville, Tennessee. And we crashed real early in the race and knocked everything, front end and the back end and everything off of it. That was one of the races where you say, no way this car can even get around the racetrack. And we went out and blew everybody away and made up the time.
Ned Jarrett did that one time, I think, too, at Hickory or somewhere. Came 12 laps back.
He made up a bunch of time at Darlington one time, but the big deal was he ran good, but a lot of other people had problems. But anytime you're that far behind, people got to have problems. You're not good enough to make up that many. You can make up 3 or 4 laps running, but circumstances have to be on your side.
So Wallace still struggling to keep Earnhardt those laps down, and Earnhardt trying just as hard to get it back. And even though this isn't for position, this is something that keeps this audience galvanized here at Charlotte, to see these two work this hard.
Well, both of them are real determined race car drivers, and they do pretty good. I mean, they beat on each other from time to time, but you hardly ever see them knock each other out like they did the other night, but that was just circumstances beyond any other control. And they don't mind racing with each other, and I think they try to intimidate each other. Neither one of them will give an inch. All of them are trying for whatever the same thing is, and they, from that standpoint, they really respect each other.
End of the race strategy. Let's see what they plan to do, and go first to Randy Pendleton.
Well, Buddy Parrott up here talking to Rusty on the radio. Buddy, 56 to go. When do you pit? And do you make up the first pit stop, or do you wait for somebody else to come in? When do you do it?
Well, if we're leading the race, I think we can kind of follow they'll follow us and do what we do. But we're going to leave her down about 40 laps to go and make a pit stop.
Okay, that's the strategy from the 2 pit. Dick Bergman?
I'm with Jimmy Maycar. When are you going to pit, Jimmy?
We're looking to pit with about 20 laps to go or so. We got to kind of have been a little enviable position. I hope that
let the 2-car force their hand first and see what they do and then make our decision.
Strategy for the end of the race.
Stand on the gas. That's about all he can do.
There it is.
Uh-oh. Something's happened to the 18 car.
18 backing up, and Jeff Gordon tapped him as they came through turn 3. Now he collects it back up and they run side by side, but he backed up about, what, 2 car lengths? And Jeff Gordon was all over him.
Yeah, 2 cars get by him down there.
As the standings are, it's Ford in first, Ford in second, Chevy in third, Dale Jarrett Chevy back and forth, and Urban's Ford in fifth. Ricky Rudd's Ford is sixth, Harry Gantz in seventh. Best we can do for Pontiac is 10th right now for Michael Waltrip.
Yeah, he's been struggling along. He's been running good, staying out of trouble. That's why he's got that far up.
Ford and Chevy tied in the manufacturers' battle this year as they get to 11 races in the Winston Cup Series. And there you see Jeff Gordon, just 22 years old. They say he's already won 600 races. Do you feel that he has that same determination? He's so young that you see in Earnhardt.
Not altogether, no. He's coming through at a different time. He's different age, different circumstances. Earnhardt had to work for everything he's got more than what Gordon has. Not saying Gordon's not had to work for his stuff, but Gordon's never had to pawn the farm and all this kind of stuff. He's been lucky that somebody's been there with him with good cars, and he's had good guidance. So he's coming from a different school, and it's hard to beat that school of hard knocks. When he gets tough, we'll just find out how tough he really is.
Seeing him right now in third. 4 drivers have won from the pole. 4 drivers have won from the pole. Jeff Gordon now in third, trying to close in. Only 4 drivers in 35 seasons.
Here we got Jeff up there running second now, and he's the only car in the first 10, I guess, that's got on the Hoosier tires. Everybody else has had trouble, but he's coming on.
11th is Loy Allen,
okay.
Richard. He's on Hoosiers. Take a look at the Sears Craftsman upcoming TBS Winston Cup races. July the 17th, the Miller Genuine Draft 500 from the 2.5-mile track at Pocono, Pennsylvania. Then September 10th, Saturday night under the lights on the 3/4 mile Richmond, Virginia track. If you can still get a ticket to see that one under the lights, is incredible. And then October 9th, we're right back here for the Mellow Yellow 500 in Charlotte, North Carolina. That's going to be a dandy. Wallace's race to win or lose. Right now, he has the advantage. He's trying to build on it. Jeff Bodine trying to find a way to capture him. They have another pit stop upcoming. Let's see what happens.
To go at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, live with the Coca-Cola 600 on TBS. This one in the hands of Rusty Wallace, if he can win. We've seen this before where Roger Penske's teams have won an IndyCar and a Winston Cup race on the same weekend, but this is the biggest weekend in motorsports. Penske's driver Al Unser Jr. already won the Indy 500. Rusty may make it 2 for 2 here today at the Charlotte Motor Speedway in midnight. Now, our friends at Pocono Raceway want us to tell you about the UAW GM sweepstakes. The UAW GM Teamwork 500 is coming up on June the 12th there, and you can get involved in a special sweepstakes that has $1 million prize money and some VIP trips available too. Apply for a Racing MasterCard at 1-800-937-POCONO. That'll automatically get you into the sweepstakes, or send them a card at Box 7813, Melville, New York, 11755 is the zip code. You can get involved. We'll be at Pocono for their second event this year in July. We're looking forward to that. We're getting down to the end here. A lot of teams planning their strategy for the last few laps. Randy Pemberton is standing by at Jeff Bodine's pit.
Oh, Paul Andrews, crew chief for Jeff Bodine, coming down off the box for me. Paul, if you don't catch a caution, when will you pit? I know you're closing in on him right now.
Yeah, we're getting pretty close. We'll probably stop about 20 laps to go. We'll see what happens, though.
Will you change any tires or just gas and go?
I don't know. We'll see what happens. We really haven't decided completely yet.
Okay, Dick Berger, what are they going to do down there with the 24 car?
Well, I'm with Ray Abraham. Ray, what will you do on your next pit stop?
Well, we're not sure. We're going to have to watch and see what the leaders do. We'll probably just end up with a gas and go, but we'll just wait and see what they do. You know, if a yellow comes out, it'll change everybody's strategies, but right now nobody can make it, so we're just going to have to see. We're going to let Rusty's crew chief make that decision.
He's strong enough to win?
Right now it doesn't look like it, but I think if we can adjust on the car and if it comes down to a shootout, you know, Jeff Gordon with 10 laps, I'll put money on him.
537 miles in the rearview mirror as we get down to the side. This Coca-Cola 600 for the 35th time as Wallace stays in front. But Wallace's lead is dwindling. Wallace's lead is being eroded as Bodine continues to clamber back into this thing. With him comes Jeff Gordon. Gordon has a lot of making up to do to catch him, but there is time.
The 16 car there has just stopped and got 4 new tires, so he's a little bit quicker than the 7 car right now.
Jeff Gordon in 3rd spot. He finished 2nd here 1 year ago, and he says he learned a valuable lesson.
Well, you know, when you get here, towards the end, it's going to be at night. And last year, I found myself in a position where I had to run really hard to run 2nd, trying to run down Dale Earnhardt for the win. But I'm going to run awful hard. The thing is, you don't really need to run real hard at the beginning. You take it easy, save your race car, save your tires, and wait for that perfect pit stop there towards the end to dial that car right in. Hopefully, you know, it'll be about a 50, 60 lap shootout there towards the end, and we'll be there. I'll be pushing awful hard if it comes down to those last 50 laps.
Looks indeed like it's going to go to the last 50 laps as Gordon in number 24 stays back there in the show position. Wallace staying first, Bodine in 2nd. There you see Rusty Wallace as he puts a lap on Rick Mast in car number 1. There's the interval. Back to car number 7, the Excite car. Jeff Bodine running in 2nd position. And now just fade back and you'll find where Jeff Gordon lies in all of this. You see him coming off turn 4. That's the separation, the interval on the top 3. Dale Jarrett, who was right up in there, led this race. He's fallen further back. He's in 4th position. Here's Gordon. Caution would certainly make it.
Well, it would make a whole different race out of it. It's going to be a different race even if they stop on the green. But I think everybody's just trying to make time right now. They, like you say, they all been talking about, hey, that's what we're going to do at the end of the race. Now they got to settle down and say, what are we going to do? We're going to have to do it now. They're all going to have to start producing.
4th position. R810. Here's 28. Bernie Irvin in 5th. Let's not forget that Ricky Rudd has had a great night, and he stays just behind him. He's running consistent.
Harry's still in the same way, buddy. Right. He's still digging. He might be the last one on it, but he's still there.
Looking for that 10 car, Ricky Rudd. There you have him in 6th spot. And completing the cars in the lead lap. In his last 600, he has stayed in the lead lap. He's been smashed into, spun around. Harry Gant is staying right with it, and he lies 7th on the field with car 33. What will be your role with the U.S. Tobacco folks after you quit racing, Harry?
I'll be with them a good while, a good many years, and you know, be a little consultant here with the teams if they need a third opinion or something. You know, you got the owner or a crew chief and driver, whatever. But you know, I'll be there and do some tests and stuff with them maybe, and be at the racetracks just on the days qualifying, and done, and I'll be leaving.
They'll remember him as Mr. September. Great wins a couple of seasons back, 3 seasons.
Yeah, really had it going with him. And the race he lost, he ran 2nd and lost brakes. If he hadn't lost the brakes, he'd have won. He would have won that one at Wilkesboro.
At Wilkesboro, Earnhardt got him.
Right. Yeah.
Just beyond the top 7 in that lead lap, Todd Bodine lies 8, a lap down. Earnhardt is there in 9th. Michael Waltrip 2 laps down in 10th. Lloyd Allen's Ford runs in 11th. Meanwhile, Chuck Bound finds himself 3 laps down at this juncture. He's in 12th with car 12, followed by Hutch Strickland, Sterling Marlin 14th, Bobby Hamilton 15th, Blake Speed, and Derek Cope is 17th. You're seeing a complete review here all through the field as we get down to the end of it. There's Bill Elliott's number 11. Had to take a provisional start. Started 43rd, actually 42nd, because John Andretti came late. Missed the drivers' meeting. So up to 22nd has moved Bill Elliott. But what a frustrating year for him and for that entire team.
Bill's just having a heck of a time. You know, they run good, and then they don't run good, and most of the time they don't run good, but they've just never been able to put it all together this year. And I know how they feel. But, you know, after Bill's been so good and won championships and won a bunch of races, and Junior's done the same thing, you've got winning people, they just not getting it done. And, you know, there's no one particular thing probably that's causing it. They don't know what's causing it. They're just not getting the job done.
And we want to let you know who the Western Auto Mechanic of the race is. Ray Evernham, the crew chief for Jeff Gordon, is the winner of the award. The Western Auto Mechanic of the race posted tonight. Our hats off. Jeff may not win the race, but Ray Evernham comes home a winner tonight here in Charlotte.
Guy is really good. He used to be in the IROC series. Remember those cars were all dolled up the same and everything?
They was really good with that stuff.
Boy, he is so bright.
Pretty good with what he's doing here.
Sure is. You see, they
look like the two cars getting away from the 7. 7 was catching him pretty good there for a while. In the last 4 or 5 laps, he's kind of worked it back out there again.
Put the spurs to number 2 to Rusty Wallace. He tries to draw away. The car recalls midnight, and as it gets darker, it seems to be running stronger once again.
It's getting closer to midnight, right?
But Bodine has not thrown in the towel. You know that they've got one more pit stop, and he'll be dancing in here and then making one more thrust to try to close ground, slap on some new rubber. But as Richard noted earlier, when they put those new tires on, usually those Goodyears have worked a little better at first, then the Hoosiers have caught them up. That's
really what happened to the 2 car. He really, really runs good, and then when the car quits, he just quits all at one time, and then they have to come in and get tires. So far, it's not quit. And they just, 30 laps to go, 29 laps to go. So, you know, it won't be long till some of them will start dropping in here, and then once one drops in, everybody will come in.
556.5 miles are complete. They'll start dropping in shortly, and we'll be here to bring you the action in the Coca-Cola 600.
4 tires and did it in 16.5 seconds. They can gamble. This team is so fast on pit road. They went ahead and took on 4 tires. Jeff Bodine is ready to come in. They're complaining about the car being loose. They're thinking about taking on 2 right sides. So if they can do that and put in enough gas in the car just to go the distance, Jeff may go to victory lane.
Bodine has taken the lead. Gordon is in second. Ernie Irvin on pit road. Let's follow the pit stop. Third spot is Jarrett. Irvin falling to the end of the lead lap. All the way around. This at lap 377 of 400 to be run. Clean it away. 19.6. Car 7, they say, is getting ready to pit. On board with Jeff Gordon. Here comes Jarrett. Dale Jarrett currently in third on pit road. Third of the leaders. 7 cars in that lead lap making their pit stops now.
Well, they're doing it good for us. They're doing it one at a time. We'll watch them, you know.
Hut Strickland has pitted. He's back out again. Travis Carter car. Here's Randy.
Well, Dale Jarrett is in. They've already done the right side tires on the interstate Chevy. Same thing for him. They've just radioed to Jeff Bodine. They said, come on in this lap. So Jeff Bodine is also going to take on 4 tires, it appears. They wanted to leave him out and see if he can catch a caution. A little over 18 seconds. Now Jeff Bodine rolls in the X-side Ford. It's the right side tires going on. It surprises me that one team doesn't try to take on just 2 tires and give enough fuel, but evidently they need at least 2 cans of fuel, so they might as well go ahead and change the lefts. Pretty good stop so far on the Bodine car. Left side tires are on. They're tightening the lug nuts. Jack goes down. He's out. 17.9. Not a bad pit stop. Let's see where they come out on the racetrack.
That leaves Jeff Gordon in the lead for the moment. Gordon now first.
I'll tell you what, the way the tires has been working tonight, I don't think any of them want to take a chance on the tire. They could have made a little bit quicker pit stop, but the tires are so important that they fall off a second and a half right quick, so they need all 4 tires.
Here's Gordon coming onto pit road. Gant should be coming in shortly. And Rudd. We'll go to Dick Berggren as Jeff Gordon makes his pit stop.
Gordon's getting ready. I tried to get from Rick Hendrick what they were going to do. He said, I'll tell you after the stop. That's how late they are deciding what they are going to do. Gordon, right side tires so far. No effort on the left. No effort on the left. Oh, here we go. Left rear tire being loosened up now. Gordon, get it with 2. 2 for Gordon.
9.5. Will it hold up? Will that strategy work?
I don't think that'll work.
Gant is in. Number 33 is on pit road.
The difference between the 2 car and the 7 car after they got on back on the racetrack was 4 seconds. The 2 car beat him 4 whole seconds around getting in, getting out of the pit. No matter, even though he didn't beat him but a second in the pit stop, he gets in and gets out so good.
Here's Waltrip back in 30th position on pit road.
So he's now got a 4.5 second lead off of the 7 car, where it wasn't but a half a second when they made their pit stop.
Todd Bodine is back out. Randy LaJoy in the 20 car, who is running in 18th position. Great stop by Ricky Rudd. Correction, a great stop by Jeff Gordon. Ricky Rudd should be leading right now. Rudd should be first. We should be showing, I believe, Bodine second.
Not the way I read it.
You want to see Gordon second?
Yeah,
that 9-second pit stop.
I can believe Gordon second.
Yeah.
Then the 2 car. Then the Bodine.
Stretching it out at 384. Ricky Rudd still on the track. Looks like he's going to take another lap. Ken Schrader pitting. Remember, he had trouble early in this race. He looked really strong through those final practice periods, but in the race game, it was not to be his. He's running in 24th. Interval, first to second, stands at 14 seconds. The average speed is at 138.5.
The interval from second to third is 2 seconds. That's where the race is going to come down to.
Ricky Rudd with his own team trying to draw it out here. Wouldn't he like a caution right now?
Man, he's not got a lap lead, so it really wouldn't be that big an advantage for him. Except everybody probably stopped and get new tires, so right.
Here's Rudd, who started 13th on the day at lap 386.
I tell you, the 24 and the 2 are running just about identical speeds right now.
A couple of Goodyear cars back there in that second and third position. Here's Rick Benjamin.
Well, Ken, we're watching my candidate for the Liquid Wrench Slickest Move of the Race Award, Ricky Rudd, waiting. He's leading with 13 to go. He's put off his pit stop, hoping for a caution if it pays off for the driver of the Tide Ford. The number 10, he could well go to victory lane here at Charlotte with that slick move.
First to second. They've got it down to 11 seconds. What was it, 13? 14. So they are closing in on Rudd. Well, he stretches it to lap 387, 388, 388 on the board now as they come by. 12 to go. Kenny Wallace is back in for Felix Sabetis another time. Riding with Jeff Gordon in the DuPont car.
He's doing good, man.
Isn't he doing well?
No, I mean, really, he's holding his own with against the 2 car, and the 2 car's got 4 new tires. So doing pretty good right now. I think it'll catch up with him, but so far it's not.
Jeff Gordon lies second. Getting down to 10 to go as Rudd, call it risky business for Ricky Rudd as he stays out there up behind Harry Gant. 10 to go this time by. With Rudd first, Gordon second, Wallace third, Bodine fourth, Dale Jarrett
Ernie Irvin, 7th is Gant. Those are the cars in the lead lap. Todd Bodine in 8th, 1 lap down, followed by Earnhardt 9th, and Michael Waltrip in 10th. Give Michael Waltrip a Purple Heart for his effort tonight. That interval, which was 11 seconds 2 laps ago, now it's 8, Richard, between the leader, Ricky Rudd, and Jeff Gordon. Cuts it down some more at 7-9 now.
Okay, the 10 cars shutting her down.
Coming in.
Yeah, man.
In. Let's go to Randy.
Well, the Tide crew waiting for Ricky Rudd to bring his Ford down pit road. Ricky has called. They've calculated what they need. They need 3 seconds of that fuel can stuck in the nozzle. That's all they need. 3 seconds, they can go the distance. They're going to blow off tires. No tires. Here we go. 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000. There goes Ricky Rudd.
2.8. They try to hold on to something here. Jeff Gordon into first. Wallace to second. On board with Jeff Gordon as he comes back.
Jeff's done stretched it out a little bit off of the 2 car.
Snappy pit stop. There's Jeff Gordon's fiance looking on. He met her in Victory Lane. I think he engaged in Victory Lane. At least he proposed in Victory Lane. So in that shakeout, Gordon takes first. Wallace Ho's second. Bodine is third. Dale Jarrett fourth. Ricky Rudd falls to 6th. He's just in front of Harry Gant. Jeff Gordon seeking his first Winston Cup victory. Set on the pole. It's been a long time since anyone has sat on the pole and won the 600. 1976, the great David Pearson. Jeff Gordon, Pittsburgh, Indiana.
Now, Jeff's done stretched it from 2 seconds to 2 right now, so he's really just outrunning the 2 car. Getting it on out there, getting it done right now.
5 laps to go, and they come by this time. As Jeff Gordon, at 22 years of age, this sensational driver did so well here a year ago, had a brilliant run in this race, is coming back and doing the only thing he can do, and that's improve on 1 year ago when he placed second in the event. Five to go. Putting a lap on Harry Gant, 7th place competitor. Jeff Gordon at 21, the youngest driver to win a 125-mile qualifier at Daytona. And the first rookie to win one of those 125 since Johnny Rutherford in 1963. Here tonight at Charlotte, North Carolina. Make no mistake about it.
It's just winding down. Everybody's hanging on now trying to keep what they've got.
Rusty Wallace stays in that second spot. Unless fate deals a different hand.
Yeah, will, because Rusty's fading. He's getting beat like 15 or 21 hundredths a lap right now. I think he's just sort of settled in.
Wallace staying second, Bodine in third. Around Earnhardt and away from him. 600 wins in 15 years of racing, and he's 22. 2 to go. 2 laps remaining. Youngest winners over the years, Donnie Thomas at 20. Talk about the greats. Fireball Roberts won his first race in when he was 21. 30 years ago that Fireball lost his life in this race this weekend. Bobby Hillen was 22.
Man, I had to be in there somewhere when I was my first one.
They don't remember back that far. Okay. White flag. One to go. Coming around the Daytona 500 winner, Sterling Marlin. Looking up, Jimmy Spencer just in front of him. Boy, this is a moment. He's diving along. Set on the pole at 181.439. He will become only the 5th driver in 35 years to win the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte, North Carolina from the pole. Checkers are out, and they are down, and it is Jeff Gordon victorious this evening on this Memorial Weekend at the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Now I called another one.
You're in good company.
No, they did the right thing. I wouldn't have took a chance on it, but they did.
Earnhardt up to congratulate him.
He's shaking his fist at him. No, not really.
He'll reach you hard, but he'll tell you when you did a good job, and Gordon did it splendidly.
I think everybody knew that he was going to win, just didn't know when.
Well, it's happened here. In this major race of the season, the Coca-Cola 600 belongs to Pittsboro, Indiana's Jeff Gordon with a sensational run in the 35th annual Coca-Cola 600. Napa. Winner's circle. Here's Randy Pemberton.
Well, Jeff Gordon is taking a few moments, gives his fiancee Brooke a hug. It was very emotional when he came in here. Jeff Gordon in absolute tears. He finally wins his first ever Winston Cup victory here in one of the biggest races of them all, the Coca-Cola 600. Let me walk in here and try and get a word with this young man. Jeff, a fantastic day for you. A great call on the pitch. You guys deserve to go to victory lane. Great job.
I'm speechless, man. I mean, this is the greatest day of my life. I don't know what to say. I mean, you know, it's a wonderful feeling, but I owe so much to this crew. I told everybody we weren't going to be fast at the beginning, and that we'd be there when it got dark and the lights came on. It's exactly what this thing did. You know, this car's named after my fiancee Brooke, and I love her very much. And this is just, I mean, unbelievable feeling. But you know, I got to thank Rick Hendrick, Chevrolet, DuPont especially. But this crew, I mean, they made that decision. I just drove the wheels off of it, but I didn't have to drive it too hard because they just did such an excellent job in the pits. And, man, that's what wins races, being smart, being there all day. We've been so unlucky lately. This is the only way to make it all worthwhile, man.
Well, they've said you've had the sophomore jinx all season. I know you wanted to put that behind you. You've done it tonight. You won one of the biggest races of all time.
We don't believe in jinx, you know. We just felt like things were happening that we had no control over, and we just kept working hard, had team meetings to get our morale back up. Man, we're ready to win some more now. This is unbelievable.
Okay, get on out of there and celebrate with these people. Jeff Gordon's fantastic run for Jeff Gordon today and this entire DuPont team.
Watch this, Richard. I mean, this crowd is going to come unglued. People love this new youngster.
Yeah, they're looking for a hero there.
Yeah, they are looking for a hero.
You know what I mean? They ain't none. I don't care what them cats is doing and done and stuff. They ain't none. So they're looking for somebody.
Well, here he is.
It's $1 million win for him.
Is it?
You know, yeah.
This crowd just waiting for him to gather himself up after he's gathered this race up and step forth from this car number 24 with which he's flown to victory.
There they go. Yeah, I think he's in a situation where nobody was pulling against him. They might be pulling for their favorite driver. I mean, like an Earnhardt fan, but they said, well, Earnhardt ain't going to win tonight. Let's jump on this kind of deal. And a lot of times that's what happens, and probably what happened a lot tonight.
122,000 people, plus what was in the infield, paying their respects to a 22-year-old youngster originally out of California who simply loves to race. Let's meet the man he beat tonight, the great Rusty Wallace.
Rusty, you were looking over your shoulder at him. What happened in those last laps that you couldn't close?
There really wasn't nothing that happened. I mean, the car was really fast, but he put 2 on. We never dreamed he'd do it, you know. We never considered him, to tell you the truth. We were racing a 7 car. we put 4 tires on, went out, and our plan worked good. The 7 car took 4 tires, but he put 2, and I really thought I could run him down and catch him, but I couldn't do it. The car ran flawless. It was perfect. It was real strong all throughout the day. Pit stops were great. I'd like to congratulate Allenser Jr. and the whole Penske team for the Indy win today. I was thinking about that thing about the first 50 laps. It was wonderful, a neat deal. But I'd like to thank Miller, Mobile, Goodyear, Bosch, everybody. I mean, we had a great run today. I told everybody this morning that the car was super strong, and I believe we led so many laps today. It was unbelievable. So we gained a lot of points, and we didn't win, but I tried to.
And you had a good, strong run with Earnhardt.
Yeah, I guess so. You know, he was trying to keep his lap back and get his lap from me, and he was burning his tires up, and I was burning my tires up trying to get around him. But, hey, all in all, 600 miles is a long way. We had a good run. Just like to thank entire Team Penske. Everything went great today.
Rusty Wallace keeping his chin up. Rick Benjamin.
Rusty Wallace certainly had a lot to be proud of today, as did Jeff Gordon. We're told Gordon led only 13 laps, but the most important 13 at the end. Can't remember the last time we saw a driver win a major race and break out in tears and spontaneous joy in victory lane. A lot of hats off to young Jeff Gordon for his victory drive tonight. Now, a couple of awards to pass out here. The Liquid Wrench Slickest Move. We talked about other drivers perhaps qualifying. That slick move certainly goes to Jeff Gordon and Ray Evernham's crew, and that he leads for Gordon. The 2-tire stop at the end really set it up. Now, we're also told that the UAW GM Teamwork Award of Excellence goes as well to Jeff Gordon's team. The Ray Evernham-led Rick Hendrick Motorsports entourage knocking that one off as well. We also want to tell you about the Advanced Auto Parts Pits Done Quickly Award. We thought Ricky Rudd might have a chance. That 3-second stop he made late in the going for gas only. We thought that was a slick move too, but it gets Ricky and his team the Pits Done Quickly Award tonight here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Well, lots of activity here at the Speedway for the last couple of weeks. It's capped off by young Jeff Gordon winning his first Winston Cup race tonight in the Coca-Cola 600. More in a moment. At night, especially if your name is Jeff Gordon. He has just won his first full-fledged Winston Cup event here tonight in the Coca-Cola 600. We are hoping to bring you another edition of our NASCAR Showcase program, some special items that you collectors are interested in. We've gotten tons of phone calls. We want to show you the phone numbers one more time. If you'd like, this will be really worth a lot after tonight's victory by Jeff Gordon. Part of his car, a picture, a personalized letter, $119.98 the price. Call 1-800-251-8888 if you'd like to order the Jeff Gordon Collector's Plaque. A Kyle Petty plaque available as well. Shirts from Kyle and Jeff, and we've got more to show you. If you'd like to send a check and place your order, the NASCAR Showcase is the address at Box 2332 in Charlotte, 28106-2332. We want to take care of that. Ken Squire, Richard Petty, what an evening of action here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Yeah, when you consider, Richard, that until 1990, this kid had never sat in a stock car. He'd won in sprints and midgets and all kinds of stuff, but he'd never sat in a stock car until 1990, and he pulls off this kind of a victory tonight. It really speaks for a great future.
Oh, it's great. You know what I mean? The big advantage he had over the majority of the people, he comes in with the very best equipment. But that doesn't take anything away from his ability, because he goes out there and proves that he's capable of handling the very best equipment. That's what he does.
All right, let's, as we take a look at the rundown tonight, talk to Dick Berggren for a moment.
Well, Ken, it wasn't just a first win for Jeff Gordon. It was also a first win for crew chief Ray Evernham. This whole team is young, and what a wonderful future they have ahead of them. Randy?
Well, certainly a great call in the pits. This is a team sport. They made a great call, but the driver in the end result has to do it. And Jeff Gordon is certainly one of the greatest drivers we have out there. May never be another Richard Petty, but we may have another Dale Earnhardt standing in victory lane there tonight. Kenny?
Well, guys, it's come down to, I guess you could say, a poker game. Rusty had to deal his hand first, and the rest of them seen it. Everybody's wrapping up behind her. It's been a long night, and I've had a really good time. See you later. Back up to you guys in the booth.
And good luck to you, Kenny. He's having his hands full in that Grand National race.
Yeah, he really is.
Richard Petty, thank you so much for spending some time with us.
We enjoyed it. Wish we'd have done better.
In his 42nd start, Jeff Gordon has won one of the biggest races the Winston Cup has to offer, the 35th annual Coca-Cola 600 at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. For Randy Pemberton, Dick Berggren, Kenny Wallace, Rick Benjamin, Richard Petty, I'm Ken Squire. Good night, folks.